It can be put in a window or close where you want to take it in. Push it in.
All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order for the Planning Commission for September 25th, 2019. Let's all stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have everybody stand on camera over here that's going to speak. That way everybody can see it on YouTube as well.
Okay, roll call. Janet Brennan here.
Lee Bravish here.
Cynthia Browning here. Lynn Jorgensen here.
Fourth G here.
Right. So the first thing I want to do is I want to, just because of time as an issue and the reason that most people are here tonight for the hearings, I'm wanting to flip-flop the set of hearings. So I'm wanting to actually move A, B, C, and D down to after K.
Are you going to move?
What?
Are you going to move?
Yes, I made a motion to move.
I second.
Aye?
Aye.
All right. So we'll start with item E, the approval of TKS conditional use permit. So is anyone here to talk about that, or? Okay. Yeah?
What questions you have?
Yeah, come up here and just kind of, I guess, say what you're wanting to do. And
We're just putting a fiber demarcation plant just on the border of Apple Valley between there and the county property. Just an intersect point between CenturyLink fiber and the fiber that we're running into Arizona. It's just a bit small, just like a telco building. It'll be similar to the one in South Central's right behind the Chevron. Those smaller.
Is that parcel?
Yes.
Okay. Just double check.
It's leased from SIPLA, Schools Trip Land Trust.
Right, bottom corner, yeah.
all right, so any questions?
There is one.
concerns?
Look, I have, it's been a week since I looked at that.
How far off the highway is this?
It's about 40, 60 feet to the fence, to the property line, and then we'll be behind that. Our lease is 115 feet. As a utility, we're supposed to be within the first 15 feet, and the power company does not want us under the power line, which is about 40 feet out. So we either have to be in the first 40 feet or we have to be about 60 feet, all of which is within our lease. So it's wherever's permitted, we'll put it. It's
Give or take 150 feet or so off the highway.
It's not crucial to us
Probably,
within up to 100 feet.
Okay.
It can be anywhere between we can be right on the fence line as a utility, or we can be in our lease area, which is beyond the 15 feet utilities.
I was just thinking, could we stipulate that we want it further away?
Put it wherever you want.
Just for aesthetics purposes, instead of having it right on the
It can
road?
be wherever you want. It's going to be behind the fence no matter what.
Right.
So it's going to be
Understand that.
60 feet off the highway either way. And like I said, we can go clear back to our lease and I think 100 feet on the west side.
Well, you want to be, the 60 sounds like something in the power line, so you would have to stay beyond that. But,
It's about 30 or 40, somewhere like that.
Yeah. Anyway, it was just a recommendation. That maybe we push it back a little bit further, so it's definitely to those tourists and things that are coming through. It's not sitting right on the highway. So, for me,
It's behind a little knoll if we go back. If you're right on the highway, it's up on the knoll. If we go back, it's kind of in the...
that wouldn't be any hardship to you guys at all.
Not at all.
That.
If it's approved, we'll put it anywhere you want within our lease area.
You need a setback, this picture shows some setbacks.
That was just trying to, out of respect for the adjacent property owner, we said we'd set off, that was my architect.
Sure.
Creative. we'll put it anywhere we have to on that leased area that's designated. But we are being manipulated by other forces, like the property, the power line, the highway, but short of that, we're willing to move where we need to.
Approximately, apparently has a antenna tower, I'm not sure.
The antenna tower is kind of a backup thing. That was in case we didn't get fiber completed, but at this rate, it looks like we'll be done in the next 2 weeks.
With
That's
the
what-
fiber.
Fiber, and this is to connect the two together.
So
Fiber doesn't have-
you won't need the tower.
More than likely, we'll need the tower. At this point, we're not even requesting that.
Oh, okay.
We had to show that as the lease to the state, because we have to say what you're gonna use the property for. In the future, we may serve the area with a, the area down by the golf course, in that area. But at this point, we're not even requesting that. Just strictly the building. We're more than willing to put anyone on there that you know, meets all
No, I don't.
the building inspector requirements.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you.
So this is, we can approve, or we just send to town council?
Planning commission.
You get to have final approval. All right. Is it someone?
I'll make a motion that we approve the location of the conditional use permit for the high-speed LLC building and with input from council on that location.
I couldn't hear that, but very well.
With input from the council on exact location.
Okay, so it's going to the town council?
Yes.
Well, it doesn't have to, but.
I thought it didn't go.
To decide the final location, wherever it works best.
Or you guys can decide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe have an engineer look at it or something.
Well, I just thought aesthetically, if we can get behind the knoll, then it's just.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
I don't have a problem
Yeah,
with it, so.
we're approving, we're voting for them.
Behind the mill.
Okay, so the motion has been made and seconded. Okay.
Who was the second?
Well, you seconded, so you
Yes,
should
I
get
did.
it. Okay, and then vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye?
All right,
All right.
thank you.
Later tomorrow.
We're gonna, use the timer?
Oh, do you want to?
Yes, please. If that's possible. What were we doing it for before, was it 2 or 3?
3 minutes.
3? Okay.
I apologize, just
I don't know that we even need one, but.
Just for clarity, the motion on the last item, could we have Michelle reread that just so that we're clear on?
Okay.
We motion to approve the location of the conditional use permit for the high-speed building with input from the council on the exact location.
Okay, well, the conditional use permit, was that mentioned? Okay, TKS. Do we need that in there?
Yeah, you can put it in there if you.
I mean, do we need to specify?
My question is what the input from the council is. Is this informal
Oh,
input?
just, I think it was just to discuss if there was a better place for it than another. It wasn't conditional
I just
on-
thought you guys could put in there, in your motion, that it's based on,
Yeah, we can't go look at it right now, but.
Yeah.
you know.
well, I was just gonna say.
He only has so much room to put it, he has.
Right.
Well, no, I.
My recommendation is that the motion be made to approve it on the south end of the parcel.
Of his,
Leased area.
leased area.
Yep.
In other words, potentially
As far as away from the highway.
further away from the highway as possible.
Yeah.
That's, feasible, so.
Okay, so do we want to do over? Or is
Please.
just stipulating, okay. Maybe you want
It's
to.
really up to you guys. I mean, Ben
Well, I
can
mean,
give
I
you
don't
input,
want,
but it's up to you
I
guys
don't
how
want to
you
be
want to word it.
blamed for not being specific enough later.
We don't need to create it like that.
It doesn't even have to go to
It
the
doesn't.
council.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Doesn't
so
have to
I think that there might be a misunderstanding. A conditional use permit is actually granted by the planning commission. This is under your authority as the planning
And I think
commission, and it doesn't have to go to
And we
town
thought we
council.
approved it, it was fine. I think the only town council reference was just the location, because he said we can put it wherever you guys want it.
Which if that's
so.
the case, then they have to wait until
Okay.
it goes to town council before they can do anything.
So we're just gonna take control.
Exactly. That's what we were looking for.
So I think that what they want is for you guys to decide, so they don't have to wait.
Let's amend the motion that it go on the south part of the property on the south end of the lease.
It's all part of the lease.
The furthest point from the highway.
Further point from the highway. This is a team effort for amending the motion. So that should be okay?
So you want to add that to the original location and remove council, or
Yes,
you want to?
we're gonna remove the
whole
reference,
thing?
remove the reference to the council. We're
Okay.
approving the TKS conditional use permit, and the location should be at the southernmost bit of their leased portion, farthest away from the highway.
Okay. We need to have another second.
Okay, so another second?
I still second.
Okay, okay, vote.
Aye.
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 All right.
Amen.
We'll do it right, do it right. Okay, so, the next item on the agenda, item F, is hearing for amendments to Town Code 10.28.230, which is accessory building and accessory uses general requirements. So, I move that we open the hearing for the amendment to Town Code 10.28.230, accessory building and accessory uses general requirements. Is there a second? Is there a second? Second, okay.
Second.
Vote.
Aye.
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 All right. Hearing is,
One stipulation, could each of you want to speak, please come up here. About here. And it helps to make sure they hear, everybody knows who you're, what people are saying, and YouTube knows who you're saying it to as well, so.
And
it's a
so
follow-up
we're-
for us, so.
are we gonna have a time limit? Okay, so we're wanting to limit comments to 3 minutes. Doesn't have to go 3 minutes, but it shouldn't go longer. All right, so I saw a hand over here first.
Yeah, does my time start from here
No.
or when I
Run.
Hey, you gotta run.
It's already started. You better
Sorry, when you
run.
asked.
Go, girl, go.
All right.
You're good, Todd.
All right. Tombstone, 881 West Smithsonian Way. This is my small accessory building, front and back. It's been painted exactly to match the colors of my home.
And how big is this?
It's under 200 square feet. I was charged with a Class D misdemeanor for that. And Class D misdemeanor, I don't know if you people are aware, but examples of Class D misdemeanors: assault, stalking, threats, child abuse, theft, abuse of a flag, unlawful purchase, possession of fireworks, unauthorized sale or use of fireworks, reckless driving, all Class B misdemeanors. That's what I was charged with. That because of, let me show you again, this little thing right here. It has the potential to impact my livelihood because I work in public service. And when I was kind of notified that I should have been at the meeting a couple of weeks ago, so afterwards I looked at the video from that, and there was something that drew my attention. And I couldn't actually get the minutes, but Michelle said, I think this one is actually better. They're talking about just like what code or whatever, just like should we do this, should we do this, 40 foot, 20 foot. Michelle said, I think this one is actually better because it says nothing over the 200 square feet. And I mean, I think if you're going to allow, if the public says, hey, we want them, what do you have to offer? And at that point, she was interrupted by an Apple Valley officer who said, I don't think you need to go by the public, you know, go by your decision up there and what the code says. So my question to you is, am I wasting my time?
No, that comment wasn't from any of us, and we followed that up with saying that's what the hearing is for, is absolutely to get
But
public
you know
input.
which one I'm talking about.
Yes, but that
So-
wasn't
Okay,
us.
Nothing's decided.
but, so I'm not wasting my
No,
time being here.
that's what
and you
this
will-
hearing is for.
And you will take maybe perhaps a building like this, even though it is a so-called shipping container, I put 3 windows, a man door, 2 roll-up doors, and I'm hoping that you'll take into consideration that the paint and how I've done this, that you're not gonna rule out all shipping containers, because I don't think this one takes away
That looks
from
much nicer than most,
What
absolutely.
what was your address?
It's
Tell me.
881 West Smithsonian Way.
What's this? Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Cute decorations around it too.
No, it's the core of it. All right, yes. Come on down.
Okay, I'll come up here. Okay, my name's Tony Prytell. I live at 884 West Foothill Drive. And I've lived here for 17 years. And I bought my property originally in 1997 for several reasons. The beauty, the quiet, it's so nice out here. And one of the reasons I bought my property is because there were CCNRs that said no mobile homes for fabricated homes, prefabricated, manufactured homes. Okay? And there are no mobile homes out there or manufactured homes. But what about a manufactured trailer that's just sitting there looking ugly? That's, you know, I bought the property because there were CCNRs hoping that would keep the property value up. And I wish the planning commission would try to help us keep the property value up. Thank you.
Thank you.
So my name is Jason Graham. I have a property out near Building Wells. I'm going to speak to you later on. This is somewhat hurting me because it's taking my thunder a bit, but I feel very passionately about this subject. I don't plan to have a shipping container, not going to put one on there, but I feel it would be infringing upon my private property rights that somebody else would say, you can't have one on there. I have rights protected by that flag, by our Constitution, to own private property and do with it how I see fit. And because somebody doesn't like the look at a storage container that I might have at my property, look somewhere else. I don't think that that's correct. That would be infringing upon my property rights because somebody doesn't like the way that house looks. And that does not negatively impact property values. That is a false argument. I'll demonstrate that in my discussion that I'll have later, but I feel very strongly that that violates that poor woman's property rights. And I feel very strongly, as a retired police officer, I understand rights very well. And her rights, property rights to own her property and put a building up the way that she sees fit, and the fact that that would be somewhat infringed upon, I don't care if the shipping container is blue, yellow, or purple. If she wants it purple with no windows on it, that should be up to her. She owns the property, and that's her issue. That's all I have to
I
say.
got a question. How many acres and where do you live? Where's your property at?
10 acres out by Building Wells.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, I saw back here and then, yeah,
No, it was you.
yeah.
Oh.
And then I saw this rich, and then that rich. Okay.
Sorry.
Many riches.
Yeah, I'm Tim Farr, live at 981 West Smithsonian Way. No, the red, white, and blue doesn't give us the right to anything we want to do. If you have code, you have code, and you should follow that code, and there shouldn't even be a discussion.
There you go.
Unless you're wanting to change that code, that's a whole different story. But the code is the code, and it should be followed, it should be enforced. It shouldn't be enforced here and not here, over here but not here, because then you're opening up a whole can of worms. If you have a code for something, whether it's the shipping containers, whether it's lighting, whether it's parking, whether it's anything, you stick with it. And it has nothing to do with red, white, and blue.
Thank you.
Very good.
I saw you, and then the other Rich.
Yes, Rich Kopp, 1183 East Big Pinion. If anybody was to read their deed or their title, it's subject to town code and limitations, whether it's town, municipality, or county. So you do have rights as a landowner. You definitely do. But you're within the limits of the town code or the municipality. In her particular case, 2010 said 20 footers were allowed. So I don't understand why she had a problem personally, but I don't know the details behind that. As far as I'm concerned, that's totally acceptable, but it goes back to the code, just like this other gentleman said. But you are subject to town limitations, and that's right on your deed or your title. Just read it and you will see.
Thank you. Okay.
Don't start yet. My name is George Bilsowski, 1024 Westwood, I'll talk fast, Pinion Way, Gooseberry area. I am your code enforcer. I'm at your service. I enforce the code, that's strictly where I'm at. About Tanya's place, good friend of mine. Not everybody is going to fix it up as nice as hers. If you have some regulations, so we say a 20-footer, I got a little video you can watch, they're not as nice as hers, and I really like hers. But the problem is, everybody's not going to be as nice as Tanya is about doing theirs, or painting it, or a window, or a door, or everything. So we got to have some rules I can work with, so can we show it? This is what I took some pictures of. It just a couple minutes. I got 2 minutes left. And Tanya didn't use all her time, so I'm going to use it. This one is not, that one's not in Apple Valley, but it could be, this double-decker. This one is. This one's got some buildings. This one, they want to build a house over, or a deck over, I guess. This one's right down for me, and two together because one moved in because the other one's there. This one was out of Coke Zero, so I don't know what the deal was there. This one is just, it's not even painted to, maybe they don't have a house, not even painted to the site. This one is beside a house. This one is at the entrance of Gooseberry. I mean, actually the entrance of here. This one was just moved out because it's on a vacant lot and we got an order to do it. This was a great one. It's right as you come into Apple Valley. They got plenty of stuff there. I guess they run out of room. They could build on up above. This one is one like Thomas. It's a 20-footer. And then you look at hers. A world of difference in hers and theirs. She went the extra effort. This one, it's painted kind of like the house, some trees. This is the trucks coming out of the old fire station. I thought I'd throw that in. We're trying to clean that up. Yay. So there's a start. So I'm just saying, be careful. Shipping containers don't belong there.
I'm just spitballing here, but I'm thinking you're against them. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm just enforcing the code. I'm just doing what the code says. So I'm just giving examples. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Another Richard.
Sorry. Richard Fisher, 1241 South Desert Drive. First off, with hers too, our old code, or current code says we can have a 20-footer. Why on earth did she ever get cited if she has a 20-footer? The town owes her an apology. That needs to go off her record. That's stupid. Number one. Number two, no other county or city has an ordinance like no connexes. You can drive down to Herkin right now. When you hit the horseshoe, before the bottom of the horseshoe, there's 7 40-foot connexes inside Herkin city limits. They're all different colors. They're just whatever they got. Kirkland's not over there citing people, telling them to move them off their property. What the hell's wrong with us?
Is it in their code?
It is in their code.
Isn't this to change the codes, isn't that what this meeting's for? Did I misunderstand?
Right.
Okay.
If that's what people want.
So it seems 50-50 right now.
Just to,
It's to look at it.
just to
see if we
clarify,
wanna change it.
just to clarify, there, it said, I think, something about the 20 foot is okay if it's, matches your house. Matching the house in style and color, was interpreted as like stucco or something, and so anyway, I've asked for clarification of this, this is why we're having this discussion, what do we want to clarify to?
3 minutes, Marky.
She's not started yet.
I have a quick question. We keep talking about this ordinance that allowed 20 footers. I don't have that. Has anybody read that? Where is that?
Then there's a 2010.
2010.
So you're saying maybe it's grandfathered in because it has changed since
No,
then, right?
no grandfather in, and here's the 2010 code.
What is this?
It says, and does it allow 20 footers?
What is
I'm
this?
not gonna get into it. Somebody else will have to do the research, what I did. Anyways, I did some research, Margaret Osowski, 1024 West Little Canyon, and I did some research trying to find cities that are kind of like ours, that you know, about shipping containers, and Enoch does have a code for shipping containers, they just passed it. Cedar City is working on a code for shipping containers, so there are other cities in the state that are working on it. That's it. Okay.
Are you working on what? Working on
Shipping
getting rid of them or
containers.
getting them?
Having codes on their shipping containers.
I think against or just against?
Yes. Okay.
I know you stand up. I've got the 2009 code. No shipping containers, cargo containers, shipping crates, box, trailer, or similar movable piece of equipment or object shall be used as an accessory building. No accessory building shall be used as a permanent dwelling. This is in 2009. 2016, we tried to change it to give more latitude to those that are willing to do what she did. And that is dress them up. Don't make them look like a shipping container. I don't want them in my neighborhood. And I'm sorry, they do break down. We have 1 acre lots and four houses and there's 2 shipping containers. It does bring down the value of the lot.
Yes. Margie?
This is in regards to what Janet was saying. Unfortunately, the past administration, when in July of 2010, when they addressed shipping containers, somebody asked him, Curtis Gubler asked him in the, you know, after they did their code, asked him about, oh, that means I can have a shipping container, and the ex-mayor said, as long as it's under 200 feet and it's painted like your house. That's the gist of what happened in 2010. When that code was brought about.
going against his own code.
Well, I'm just telling you what happened, and that's why there's a lot of the 8 footers or 20 footers, 20 by 8.
But I like what Tanya's done with hers. Hers is really nice. And if they all look like that, that'd be really nice.
Was it officially amended? Were you able to find that? Because I know you really researched this.
Don't know if it was amended. I don't believe so until you guys started addressing
No, it wasn't amended till 2015.
Right. So why are we talking about the 2010?
It's because that's
Well,
what
because
was
that's-
mentioned, that you could paint them, that it wasn't officially. So yeah, I just have to look at
It was actually in the minutes of that meeting in 2010, it's talked about in those minutes, that if they amended it.
So they amended it, and it has, and that was before, believe it or not, that was before my time.
Yes,
on this
in
thing.
2010, if you listen to the minute, I know it was amended.
Okay. So it was amended to allow 200 square foot or less painted.
Do you want me to find it?
Which is a 20.
That'd be Pugmire, Pugmire and, Lori Baum, that were on the planning commission at that time.
What I got, I thought was current, it doesn't say anything about 200 square feet.
No.
See, I guess we need to know what the official one is.
Well,
There's only if someone is in violation or not.
right.
Yeah. They were never.
Well, it doesn't, I'm not sure it matters right now, we're just trying to decide what we want the code tweaked to, because that's what I asked, was just, let's clarify where we're at with these. We have a lot of people that hate them, we have a lot of people that love them. Let's figure out if there's a middle ground on this, and that's all I asked for. So, rather than look for the code and worry about it, let's just go ahead with the hearing.
Yes.
Jay Kleinfeld, 1664 South Manzanita Drive, Apple Valley. First of all, I find it very surprising that no one seems to know what the current code is.
I'm pretty sure I know.
We were
Well,
wanting to
then-
make sure we didn't overlook it.
Then would someone please let us know? I would like to know if there is a limit to the lot size regarding these shipping containers. And since the town seems to feel that half-acre lots are high density now, I think that these containers should not be allowed on half-acre lots. As far as I'm concerned, I don't care if they're allowed on 1-acre lots or bigger, but that's just my opinion.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
My wife and I are brand new. I don't even
Please
know.
state your name.
Darwin Rollins. I don't know what my address is.
Find Louis, he'll tell
That's
you.
your homework.
Little Pinion. Little Pinion.
You actually don't have to give your address. You just have to state your
And
name.
I was in one of those pictures. I have a shipping container. And I am a stupid old man. I did not know. I want to talk about feelings is what I want to talk about. Because my wife and we want to move out, out into a nice rural area. And being stupid, I didn't know that I had to have a permit in order to drop something off a truck. So I dropped something off a truck and got my butt bit off because I dropped something off a truck. And it feels like it's continued. And I don't, I think that my wife and I kind of stepped in the middle of a big fight that's going on. And we've got a little red tag on our shipping containers, and it says that you've got to move this or we're going to something. Something's going to happen. And I don't want to fight. I don't want. If you guys decide shipping containers are a no-no,
That was already decided.
well, then if you decide and get all the 9 that are in my gooseberry thing and everyone else, I didn't notice that it was a no-no because they're, driving in gooseberry, I didn't count. 9 may be
They're like rabbits, they start multiplying.
Yeah.
And that's why they give you bad rap.
And that may be the problem, I don't know. We were willing to fix ours up, make stucco it, we talked to our builder. That costs more than building a building because you have to set foundations because you're gonna put a roof on it, da-da-da-da-da. So we just said, we'll get rid of it, we'll take it off the lot. We do have stuff in it that goes in our house. We have tools in it that we're going to use while we build our house. We felt like we had an agreement with the town that we could keep it there until the house is done, and then we'll get rid of it. As a new individual, my wife and I didn't feel very welcomed when we drove into town. And I agree, I did something wrong. I dropped that in the front yard and and you know what road Lewis. And if I was to do it again, I wouldn't do it that way.
Where do you live at? Purple Sage?
Next door
Yeah.
to the steel building.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
the mechanic shop up there, big
Whole
container?
other world.
Right next
Yeah, I've just
door.
seen your workers there, I've never seen you there, I've just seen the guys working.
Yeah, we show up at 6 o'clock, 6:30, when we, in Fredonia, we'll teach school in Fredonia, so we drive back through all the way to Hurricane where we're staying right now. So, that's all I want to say. We will do whatever the town wants us to do. The thing that I would look at is how it comes off. You know, because you don't want to scare folks off. Or maybe you do, I don't know.
Or if it's just up the street, you're very welcome.
Rich Copper, 1193 East Big Pinion. I think that's one of the problems. People should be more versed in what town code is. You come from an area, and I did my research before I came in. I knew what I could and I couldn't do. People come in and they think they can do exactly the way they did where they came from. That's not the case. And two, if you want to see how detrimental connexes can be, go down to Hilldale, and you'll see the look of connexes, especially 40-footers, and that's what we're trying to clean up Apple Valley. When we were county, a lot of things got passed, a lot of things happened that really made this town look like garbage, okay? The town was incorporated, the last couple administrations really still acted like it was county, everybody wanted to get along, let them do what they want, and now here's what we're dealing with, and you can move in, and you see 6, 7 public connexes, oh, I guess I can have one. So I think there has to be some more communication between town, especially in the new residents moving in, and it's got to be clarified exactly what you can and can't do in this town. I mean, we're trying to clean this place up, which is right for everybody, you know? That's why there's ordinances in the first place. This way, I don't go knocking on my neighbor's door and say, look, dude, clean the place up. There's a problem, you call the code enforcer, he is going by the rules and regulations on the book, and if you don't like them, well then you try to have them changed. You try and have them fit the way people deem necessary. And that's why we're here, and I agree with that 100%. My right as a homeowner shouldn't be infringed by my neighbor's rights as a homeowner. And that's what the ordinances do. They keep an even balance where we can live in harmony, and if there's a problem, get code enforcer involved, and that's, I mean, that protects the town, it protects the residents as far as I'm concerned. And if you want to change them, well, that's why we have these meetings over here. And that's just the way I feel about it.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
what's the purpose of it to begin with?
Excuse me?
What's the purpose?
Of what?
Of changing? Oh. This is about the containers, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Well, what's the purpose of it?
Clean up the town.
No, the whole thing, why you gotta change it?
You gotta change it.
Because it's ambiguous,
Well,
that's,
then I
yes.
guess shipping containers aren't allowed for anybody then, because that's what's on the books right now.
Okay,
So you
Charles.
have a shipping container?
Charles, if you'd like to make a comment, Charles,
Yeah?
if you would like to make a comment, could you stand up here, please?
Okay. Sorry, I don't understand it, and that's why I came to find out what's going on. Why it's gotta be done.
It's muddy. The way it's written is muddy, and we're just trying to clean it up. And so that starts the discussion all over again as far as what everybody wants. So what you want is important to us. So tell us, you like them, you don't like them, where are you at?
Yeah, I like them, I have one.
Okay?
And I was thinking about another one.
Where are you at?
Future.
Hey, that answers the question. That answers the question.
Where are you at? Where are you at again?
Gooseberry.
Where are you at?
1461 north, Apple Blossom Lane.
Apple Blossom, okay,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, you have the tractors, right?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, I store them in it.
Let's just get better.
All right.
Thanks.
So do you, question answered, or did you have another question, or?
No, other than, I wish somebody would have gotten this out.
Well, it was out in 2010.
No, I mean for this meeting.
Oh, it was posted. Did you get a thing in your door?
No,
I got one in my door.
no, I didn't see one.
I got one on my
How'd you know about
windshield.
it?
I got two.
I talked to a man that was here for another problem, and he told me about it this afternoon.
Nice, well, I'm glad you made it.
Yeah,
So, that's my opinion.
all right.
I don't want it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
You all get old too someday.
You're lucky.
Gary Wells, 642 at Smithsonian Way. Not a big fan of shipping containers, one way or the other. I've probably handled thousands of them over the course of my career. That's what I did for a living. I handled them with cranes, I handled them with forklifts, overhead cranes, tower cranes, you name it. I've thousands of them. Never once have I ever put one in a residential area. That's just another point. But I would like to see a little bit of bending where if somebody comes in to build a house, and in addition to having the building permit, give them maybe 90 days. So you can store your stuff, you can keep your machinery in there, you can keep your tools in there. That 90 days starts the same day the building permit is issued, day it goes. You know, cut somebody a little bit of slack if they come in to build, and at the end of 90 days, if they don't have a garage to put their stuff in, they should fire their contractor.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, all right. Well, I wasn't sure. Okay, go ahead.
Ladies before heathens, go ahead.
Now
What if
it is a tough one. I think that what Gary said is a good idea as far as giving people a little slack if they're.
Could you state your name?
I'm sorry, Allison Cathy. If you're bringing it in to help you build your home and you're gonna get it out of there, and there's a time period, that's a good idea. What I objected to in the code is it goes to you can't have this, and then it says, another column, unless, well, what do you mean unless? Now, you're either gonna allow it, or you're not gonna allow it. There's no unless. You know, it's like, growing up, we had rules, and there was no unless, you just didn't get to do it, or you got to do it, no gray. And I think it's that gray area that's killing us. And I think like Tanya's, hers is a nice little thing, you know, okay? So do we need to put a limit on the size? And then, do they have to match the house? These are the things that we need to put together as far as the new code. But once you get this, and this, there is no unless. No, you have to come down to these rules. And as far as not being able to have something as a right or whatnot, my husband and I, this is our 17th move in our married life. And we've been married a long time. And we've gone in and out of different subdivisions, different states, always checking codes, what's permitted here, because there's always like a limit on the size of your house. Or one I thought was exceptional was you can't hang your laundry outside because it's be seen. Now, sorry, I like my sheets hanging out. Do I want to look at someone's bloomers? No. But, you know, these are things you find out before you build. It's up to the responsibility of the person coming in to see what's permitted by the town. And so we need to state exactly what and how big and decorate or how long. We just need real facts down, so we don't have to have this again for another month or another year. We never seem to get anywhere. We talk about it and talk and nothing gets done.
Allison, could I respond to a couple things real quick? You mentioned the unless, and that's why I brought up this code back to the planning commission, because I felt like it was poorly worded. And I would rather say it is or it isn't, and that's why we're having the discussion, is because I says, this is just so poorly written. It just sounds like no, 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 unless, and then that unless is kind of ambiguous the way that it's described, and that's what I felt. But the one thing that I wasn't clear on what you said was, you like them, you don't like them. 20 foot's okay if it's like what Tana has, or the 40 footer is definitely not, or can you give us, maybe an opinion based on where you live, how you feel about them?
I don't like them because they're getting moved in. I think they're bringing the property values down. Now, Tanya has done a very nice job with hers. So do I have a problem with a 20-foot versus a large shed that matches the house? If it's done in a certain way, maybe not. And hers is in the back, okay? It's not in the front of the yard, maybe that's another rule.
Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, it just, we just need to have a real set idea of rules. And I think another thing is, these should be given out when people apply and receive a building permit. They should be given the list. It shouldn't be up to Margie and them to have a box outside their house so people know what CCRs and codes and all that. They should get a copy of it.
They do.
They do? Well, I don't know what happened. Well, see,
Every time you leave, you're supposed to get one.
and then who gives this out?
Title company.
Title company?
They're
If you
required.
didn't pay attention, that's, not, anything down.
Right, right. If it's already there,
Yeah, it's not the town's stuff, but on CCNR's system, but
Yeah.
they should have an HOA that takes care of it, so.
okay.
Anyway, thanks
Yeah,
for
yeah.
clarifying that for me, appreciate it.
Bit nervous. I'm Richard J. Palmer. I live at 861 West Smithsonian Way, and I am for shipping containers. I do have one. Before I moved it up here, I came into this office and asked if I could have it. And I was told yes, if it was painted. So I moved it up here in 2017 and put it at my sister's house. We was looking for property to build. We happened to find a house that was just what we wanted. We bought it. I came back in here again and asked if I needed a building permit or what I needed to have to move it to that place. If it's painted, it's okay to take it over. So, you're talking about, I looked at the code, asked about the code, and it said in 2010, if they are painted, they're acceptable. Nowhere in there does it say match the agriculture deal. I painted it neutral, I painted it sage green. We got sagebrush all around it, it blends in with that. So, and we're picking on just shipping containers. There's other scenarios out here. Semi-trailers, things like that. Why are they not being brought up? I feel that shipping containers are being singled out. So, they're in that category of outbuildings, right? So, we're gonna put a stipulation on you wanna build an outbuilding there, it's gotta be 200 square feet and less? Or can it be 320 square feet? Granted, 200 square feet, you don't need a permit. 200 above, you do need a permit. I understand that. I've asked all these questions and I was told, no, you don't have to, you don't have to, you don't have to. So now I'm in this situation.
When was this now, when you asked for it?
2017, and we've lived up here moved in July of 18. And I asked both times.
Is that the one that was over there and got signed?
Yeah, in Zion Circle.
City official?
It was blue when it first came up. I didn't have the money to it. I went and painted it to make everybody happy to fit in. I want to fit in this community. I want to die here, see? But yet, I don't want to fight all these battles.
I know that was across the street from me, so.
Yeah.
That's pretty rough.
So, I mean, I agree the colors of them, yes.
Yeah.
But I bought a stucco house, and the reason why I got the container is because affordability. Now, if I was to build a building that size, footings, rebar, concrete, wood, insulation, everything else, 2.5 times the price. Mine's fireproof, mouse-proof. I store my root vegetables in it. I store my dog food in it. So it somewhat fits agriculture aspect of it. It's not going to burn down. I stacked my wood against it. I was looking at the side to roof the side of it. Time's up.
Thank you.
I'm Celeste Palmer, his wife, and I don't agree with the colors. I think we should have any color we want. I moved up to this place to be able to come to a rural place and be able to put a container in my yard, because I've seen it everywhere, and we did ask, and we were told it was okay. So I moved up. I don't know why everybody's saying this town looks like crap. In my opinion, I love it. I don't think it looks like crap. I didn't move up to this place to have it look like Park City. So this baloney about not having shipping containers, if you don't like it, in my opinion, like he said, don't look at it. It's fireproof. Like my husband said, my container looked a lot better than some of these sheds and some of these people's yards that are falling down. Probably have mice in them, fire hazard, all kinds of things. And they're picking on my container that blends in with the scenery, not the color of my house, which in my opinion, if I painted it the color of my house, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb. Where it's
Put it in the backyard.
It is in my backyard.
Right out on the side of the house.
What do you do? Don't like it, don't look.
I can help but not see it.
It was told okay. It was told that it was okay.
I'm sorry that that happened. I'm sorry too. I get you.
Okay. No bickering in the audience.
Real quick, one thing that she was talking about the Sofskies having a little box on the side of the thing, that's CC&Rs.
Yeah, that's not.
That belongs in the subdivision, it doesn't belong in the town. We need to quit trying to make our entire town a cotton picking CC&R. It's not what we want. It's not why any of us moved here. They need to keep the CC&Rs in their development. If some other, Cedar Point wants them, go get them. We don't want those in the entire damn town.
Yeah, I don't think that's what we're doing.
Well, they only apply to
Well, right, but they're trying to push the same ones on the rest of us. Every time we come to have these meetings, they bring up this, and they want the whole town to abide by what they have, and they want the town to enforce what they have. It's not the town's problem, it's their problem. They bought there, they got the CC&Rs, they want them, go enforce them. It's not the town's problem.
Okay.
Is a shipping code a CC&R, or is it a code for town? I'm just curious.
It's not a CC&R, it's part of the town code.
Yeah.
Under accessory buildings. Okay.
I don't know what all the bitching's about around here.
Goddamn
choices.
What's the language?
My name's Gary Dooley, 1051 West Smithsonian Way. There should be no damn arguing here. Here's the code. The code was here when you moved in. Enforce the code or burn the code and get rid of all this stuff. Let's quit this shit. And by the way, I don't think hers is a Connex. It's a very small tool shed.
Thank you.
I love it when they hold back.
Want to do that?
Why don't I read those?
Yes,
when
I
you
think
do?
you, okay,
You have to do those?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Debbie Top. I just have a quick question. If we do allow them when somebody's building a home for a temporary period of time, we know some connexes are like fat. Once you get it, you can't get rid of it. So how are we going to enforce that?
You don't give them a CO.
Can I?
If it's a temporary agreement.
Well, they did.
We're
So it's something to do more with buildings.
Come on down.
Come on down.
So I'm Sherry Rollins, I'm Darwin's husband and Darwin's wife.
Okay, cool.
It's kind of ironic to me because I did not want a shipping container, so this was already a sore spot with us. But he wanted this, so we got it, and we had no clue. We read the CCNRs, it's not in the CCNRs, it is in the town code. We realized we blew that. We thought we'd work things out, so for us, and I think this is a great temporary fix. I thought we had this all worked out, that they gave us our building permit, we can store our stuff for our house in there, we can store our building stuff in there, and then I cannot get my occupancy permit, or whatever that's called, to move into my house until my shipping container's gone. You can hold that over my head. I can't get in my house. Can you not hold that over my head? Oh, you
No, that's
can?
up to the county.
That's county.
Oh, the
That's
county,
county.
that's not you guys, because I thought
No,
that was a brilliant way
That's
to
in
solve
your
this.
purpose.
Well, the reason is I could hold up the occupancy, but if you're paying cash to build a house, there's nothing stopping you from moving in anyway and just not having an occupancy for
Okay,
ever.
sorry, I thought that was a great solution.
That's
'cause-
incorrect, that's incorrect. You cannot
Well, it's
live in a
happening.
house in
It's
the state of
happening.
Utah without a certificate of occupancy, it's against the law.
Code
The entire state of Utah.
Code enforceable. Code enforceable.
You live in a house without a
So
certificate.
it was really shocking to me to drive up to our property and then see this red tag, because I thought we had come up with a solution, and we totally have our plan to get rid of it as soon as we can. So I think it's a great way to store our stuff neatly. I don't worry about theft. I'm a little frustrated, very frustrated. I'm a rule follower. I want to follow the rules. I do want to follow the rules. But I also think we can work together to make things work.
Well, we can make them clear.
Yeah, and I look at my neighbor's sea container next door and it's not red tagged. What's that? If you're gonna do me, then you better be doing everything on my neighbor.
That's a question to ask Osowski back there.
Later, after the meeting. All right. Were you, okay.
When you're closing the meeting, I'd like to say a couple things, so you don't mind.
Gloria Charles, 894 West Whitfield Drive. I've been trying to sell my house since July. And I'd say 60% of the people that have come to see my house said, what's the deal with the shipping containers? Now, just a thought, if it doesn't affect property values, how come people are asking me that?
It affects property.
There's no factual.
It does
measure
not.
for that.
Well, I'm sorry, but it
Subjective, that's
does.
opinion.
No, I have the actual evidence.
You talked to the appraiser, they'll
Yeah,
back it up.
and I just talked to one yesterday. So, yeah, something to think about.
Hey, look, can you talk from here for 1 second? I just want to say, I feel bad for you guys, because previous administrations, they had people sitting here, the janitor was giving out building permits. People that couldn't read a blueprint, people that couldn't do basic math. I mean, people that, yeah, I mean, they sat in the office here, oh yeah, sure, you can do that, sure. And they just didn't give a damn. I mean, whatever they wanted, if somebody came and said, we want to build, they said, go ahead. And they built that all on you guys, and I feel bad about that. But I'm just telling the new people that are here, you may have dealt with some of these people in the past, and
It wasn't us.
I'm not gonna mention any names because I don't want to get the old mayor in trouble. Or his lackey that's in the office.
Any other comments? We were wanting to, because I think some of the concerns we have addressed in the wording that we are kind of playing with as for making it better. And so Forrest was going to read what we currently have, and then I was going to read what we're changing it to, or what we're talking about changing it to.
And I want to make some comments too.
Okay.
So I'm not sure where you want to fit that in.
Well, why don't we read this and then?
Yeah.
Do you want to close the hearing? Are you done?
No, we're not closing,
Oh, okay.
we're adding to the hearing.
Okay.
We're
For their
clarifying a
hearing.
couple things. Currently, it says no shipping container, cargo container, shipping crate, box, trailer, or similar piece of equipment or object shall be used as an accessory building unless said container meets the requirements of section 1015-23, which is the one that's contained in, so you have to read the whole section. sorry, it's long, you can't put it all in one, I guess you could, but.
We may have
We may have to, one of the main concerns in that section, it says accessory buildings except for agricultural use, accessory buildings shall be constructed of similar materials and colors and be an architectural style designed to blend with the primary building. So,
That's the code as it stands.
That's how it stands. That's a summary of just two parts up there's, oh gosh, maybe 20 different
That
parts.
no shipping container unless it
Since what
matches
year?
in style and color.
Since what year?
That was the.
We think 2015.
Yeah.
I'm not sure anyone really knows.
And in 2010, it said very similar to that.
There's no shipping.
Yeah.
Well, it starts out saying no shipping containers, but then it says.
Unless it meets.
Unless they look like your house.
Yeah.
Now,
And
she
and
wanted to read
so,
the.
what, yeah, this is kind of what we put together a couple of meetings ago. Yeah, this is the stuff we're listening to for the hearing. Says, any shipping container, cargo container, shipping crate, box, trailer, or similar piece of equipment of any size to be used as an accessory building shall require a building permit and must meet the requirements of this section. 40-foot containers are not allowed, and only one 20-foot shipping container allowed per lot. So, instead of saying no shipping containers, it just says you can, but they do also need to fit the rest of the code, which still says shall be constructed of similar materials and colors and be an architectural style designed to blend with the primary building. And they need a building permit.
That part should probably come out and say it's gonna be painted.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So it's not saying no one can ever have shipping containers ever again, but it's making some stipulations.
And the new one does take out the unless and spell it out just a little bit better. You still have to go back and read some of the other stuff, but that's just the way codes are.
And if you have to come and get a building permit for it, then when you come to do that, it'll be obvious that this is what you need to do to it to make it legal. So, but yeah.
Okay. Marty, Mayor, that's if you don't know me. I have spent some time in our side-by-side petition. I went for a drive and we're up on the mountain, beautiful drive, real bumpy road. We land in Duck Creek Village. Shipping container, shipping container, shipping container, shipping container. You know, I've never noticed it before. That place is so beautiful, with trees and beautiful log cabin homes and shipping containers everywhere. And I've never really noticed them before. And that's just a place that I can see that those are vacation homes. People like them because of the security they offer. And I don't think any of them had the original paint on them, so they probably have some type of code. I didn't look up their code, but every one of them was at least painted some kind of pleasant color. And, but it was probably for the snowmobiles and their side-by-sides and whatever else they're putting in there that they want to make sure they're secure. And I didn't feel, as I drove those neighborhoods, that, I mean, to me, just look around, there's just these huge trees and awesome. Some of these neighborhoods up there that we were driving around, I had no idea they even existed. Beautiful, beautiful log cabins with shipping containers short painted. And I didn't feel like it took away from those particular neighborhoods at all. I would say those lots are probably even as small as 1/4 acre, maybe half, would you say, those 30-acre lots kind of size. So they weren't even that big. So a couple days ago, we had the opportunity to go to Lake Powell, which is my first time for the whole season. I'm sad about that part of it. When we're going outside of Kanab, when you leave Kanab, you have all those, I guess they're probably cedar trees on the left-hand side, right-hand side. Beautiful neighborhoods that have been growing over the years. And we've been going out there for probably almost 10 years to Lake Powell on a regular basis during the summer. And I've never really noticed anything other than just driving and saying, wow, those are awesome looking neighborhoods. And the neighborhood's growing and there's more houses and more houses. And this time, because of those discussions going on, I started noticing shipping container, shipping container. I mean, and this neighborhood, again, had them everywhere. Yet I've never noticed them before because I'm looking at everything else. They're the beautiful neighborhoods, they have blacktop, they have beautiful scenery, the backdrop, red rocks, the whole 9 yards. But there were probably, in that exact neighborhood, probably about 12. And we're just going 65 miles an hour down the road, counting as we drive down the road. And that's just that one neighborhood, and there's probably at least 20 before we hit big water, I would say, that we kind of on the way in different neighborhoods. So when you get in the rural communities like that, when you have some more wide open spaces, it's not unusual to see some of these things. And my reason for wanting to bring this up is it's important to me that we don't have just 3 or 4 people in the audience that is discussing, and then these 5 up here deciding what all of us are going to have to live with. And it's important to me that we all have some feedback. And so this decision isn't made at all. They have some ideas of what they want. And I've already expressed to them that we're also going to be doing a survey on our town website. And in that survey, I'm going to be asking questions. And tonight, I wanted to hear your comments so I could see if there's any questions I wanted to add. The questionnaire is done. It'll be up in the next couple of days. Link will be out on your water bills when it comes out. I would encourage everyone to go out there, fill out the survey. Some of the questions I'm clarifying, we have, let's see, I think it was Celeste that brought up the Park City thing. And, you know, when you have, you know, having those shipping containers as a potential just temporary while you're building your house kind of thing. It's not in our code that allows that at all. But that doesn't mean that we couldn't ask that question on the questionnaire to decide, is that something that we would want?
A temporary permit.
A temporary permit for that time that you're building. We don't have room in their code right now for that, but that doesn't mean that we couldn't possibly see if there's room for that. I'm going to add that question on to the questionnaire because I think we'll see what people think of that. The other one, I was listening to Mr. Grant about his 10 acres. If you have 5 or 10 acres, should you be able to let have a 40-foot shipping container if you paint it? You know, and it doesn't say, you know, Matza on the side of it anymore, and it has some kind of at least tan or some kind of color that's, you know, earth toned or however you guys want to word it. You know, I mean, because it's not realistic to say, as they found out, to stucco a shipping container. It's probably not a realistic request to do that and put a roof and pitch, and I mean, you might as well stick frame it at that point. But you know, so once you get into Cedar Point where you have half acres, you know, maybe we don't say that, you know, 20-footer is okay if it's in your backyard, you can't see it from the road. I mean, you know, there can be some fixes here that make it possible that we can almost solve everybody's problem in the room, where the 20-footers, when they look like Tanas, are acceptable if they're in this kind of a location. And once you get into a 5-foot, you know, excuse me, a 5-acre piece, then maybe they get to where, yeah, you can, but here's where it has to be located based on the conversation, you know, that we have on this questionnaire. So I'm going to be putting that out, and it's just a further discussion because I think there's a way to tweak this to where even though we all live in different neighborhoods, we have different ideas, I think maybe we can come up with something that works for, you know, more people than what you guys think based on this meeting content so far. So there's some possibilities here, I think.
Best thing I've heard all night. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah.
So it'll be on our town website, and it'll be on the mayor's page, and we'll have a link actually at the very top. You go to the home page, and right at the top it'll say shipping container questionnaire. You just click on that, it'll take you right to it. And there is going to be a limit of only a couple of submissions per IP address, and so that way we're not getting someone to stack them. And we will be, you know, verifying email addresses to make sure that we don't have someone that's just kind of at the computer all day making up phony email addresses. So that way we can have some honesty on it. So, yes. She got her hand up.
Well, I just wanted on the record that there's more than 2 or 3 people here in the audience that are here regarding they don't like shipping containers.
Well, there's a handful I can tell that like them okay, and what I'm trying to suggest is that there is probably a solution out there that can make everybody happy, where, yeah, there's no more 40 footers on 1 acre or smaller, and then when you get into 5 acres, you know, maybe that's where we allow them, you know, so that way, I think there's a solution, but let's get the questionnaire so we can, because we might find out that 75% of the town hates them and doesn't like them, and it could go the other way too, so.
Can we put up a little flyer and set it not just in the mail or utility bill, but chevron up the mailboxes, things like that, so more people can see it?
Well,
a chance to vote on it?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to do that, but anybody that doesn't, any computer savvy, you can come right down here and these
No,
guys.
he's just talking
Oh,
about,
put up
put
a
up a flyer, go to the website,
Yeah,
do the
yeah,
So more
questionnaire.
people know about it.
It will be
So more people
everywhere.
know.
It will be everywhere. It'll be on the bulletin boards, it'll be on the website, yeah. We'll do it.
Everybody water bill,
And
on the
I
water
know,
bill?
we had also talked about the possibility of having it just in a paper format for people who don't have the internet, want to come into the office and just fill it out on the paper. We can do that.
Anyway, we want everybody to look at it, and then we'll be deciding what this might say.
Okay, yes, Margie.
If you have 2 lots, can you, put your survey in twice?
It's an IP address. It's just, you know, one IP address that will be tracking this. We want to know how many people, it's like voting, you know? 2 votes per household kind of thing, so.
I have to have an IP at my work. So yeah, we are wanting more feedback, and that's what this hearing is about, is to get the feedback of everyone who is here, and then to try to gather some more feedback through the survey. But since this is the hearing, this is the legal requirement to have a hearing for code. And so we're not going to have another hearing. We're waiting for more feedback before we make our decision based on this hearing and based on the feedback in the survey. And so before we close this hearing, I'm just kind of I'm going to just have, this is just to see where we all kind of stand, and, you know, put your money where your mouth is. So I'm going to ask you to choose between 3 options here to raise your hand which you support, all right? Just to get general crowd idea. All right, so the 3 options are going to be no shipping containers at all, no matter what. The other choice is going to be, I want whatever I want, no restrictions whatsoever. The third option is going to be to work out something so we can have shipping containers within reason with some parameters that would make common sense. All right? So, no shipping containers whatsoever. Raise your hands. Okay.
Can you count them?
Oh, sure, okay, keep them up. No shipping containers at all, no matter what. Okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Want to double check? Okay, so 12 for none at all. All right, for shipping containers and anything else you want, no restrictions whatsoever. Raise your hand. 2. Okay, shipping containers with common sense parameters. All right, keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
I didn't know we got to raise our hands.
Okay. I'm voting as a citizen, not a county citizen.
Put me down for the first one then.
The first one for none at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 13 for none at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we have some common sense here. And we'll get some feedback with the survey as well and take all that into consideration. And I think we could probably come up with something that makes most of us happy about most things. So, all right.
Make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Vote.
Aye.
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 All right. There's a few more items on the agenda.
I move that we open the hearing for the amendment to Town Code 10.26 outdoor lighting.
I second. Vote.
Aye.
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 Okay. So. Next up, next up. With the outdoor lighting. So, we are wanting, we've made some changes in the current ordinance. Changing things from, what, like 1,800 lumens to 1,200, from 900 lumens to 600. We didn't really change anything about lights being pointed down. That's been the case for a while. Downward facing lights. Basically, it's so your neighbor's lights don't shine out into your yard or into your windows or whatever. We've kind of adopted the dark skies ordinances. There are parameters for that. I mean, that's what we've looked at. And also included, so when people come in for a building permit, we are wanting to have some examples of yes and no lights. I know I like examples. And so that's somewhat helpful. What else were the big things we kind of,
Change one definition to make more sense, we really look effective.
yeah.
Oh, the holiday lighting.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
we had holiday lighting, yeah.
Yeah, so holiday lighting from October 1st to February 1st is all right. So go nuts. Within reason.
No, I don't know.
Oh, any lighting that's not in compliance right now, when that lighting needs to be replaced at some point, then it needs to be made compliant. But you're not gonna have to go out and right now at this very moment replace all of your lights. We would, request those, lower wattage and lumens and all of that, and warmer colors versus those bright blue LED, see from space kind of lights. So.
Now, did we decide that we're gonna put this chart on the back of building codes, or building permits?
Well, yeah, that it can be included with information that they need when they have money.
Because I like examples too.
When can you talk us? Oh, yeah, and also if you come in for a building permit to remodel, you need to bring all those into compliance as well. But you also have, within 90 days, things need to be fixed. What were you saying?
I couldn't hear what she was saying.
Oh,
I was just prompting her.
Yeah.
Because we're sharing a copy.
Yes. That,
I think I've got 3 copies.
people who are out of compliance with it don't have to go and fix it this very second. But if they need to replace the lighting, then they have to, or if they come in for a building permit to remodel or whatever.
You need another copy, I've got 3 over here.
Okay, yeah, maybe you have mine. You probably grabbed mine now. Anyway, so that's kind of the gist of a lot of it. Does anyone have any comments or concerns about the lighting?
Yeah, Marty, I was wondering about the scratch off, that first edit, where it has an 8 scratch off and a 2 underlined. Is that changing it to 1,200 lumens?
Yeah.
Or-
Yes.
Why would we be increasing that?
No, it was 18.
It was 18 now.
Right, it reads 18 now.
Because 1,200 is like, man, that's a bright light.
And you can see it in the.
No, 1,800 down to 1,200.
Yeah, we were increasing it.
Is that what it said?
Yes, it was 1,800, now we're
Right.
proposing 1,200.
And instead of 900, 600. So, and we probably should also have, well, it has in the dark sky catalog thingy that it has the Yeah, what wattage lumens equal,
Oh, yeah,
that whole.
conversion.
Yeah, conversion chart.
Makes it much more.
But I know we all probably enjoy our dark skies out here.
Yeah.
And anyone who comes out, and I know visits me, they just go, you get to
Yeah.
look at this every night. Yeah.
Would we have a time frame on having? Okay, Lisa Farr, on Smithsonian Way, and I'm having. Would we have a time frame to replace the fixture? Because you said, go ahead and get it done, but are you gonna put a time frame on how long you have to do it if you've already have it existing?
We talked about that, and so I think we decided not to,
For this.
until it falls apart, and then you have to.
And then when you have to replace it, then make
So you
sure
don't really need to replace it?
No, not right away.
Maybe the
Not
bulb-
ever.
Maybe the
If
bulb
you don't have a
inside-
time frame,
maybe
that's
the
what I
bulb
meant.
But you
inside
might
will-
need to rethink what bulbs you're using.
We can't retro, tell someone to replace something that's existing because we did a new code. When they replace that fixture, we can require that they replace it with the new code, but
Okay, technically downward facing's been part of the code for a while.
it has, yeah.
But new homes are making sure that we're putting those on,
They should be,
and that gets an inspection or something.
For,
cool, in theory.
yeah, one thing, I haven't read through this whole thing yet, but I'm hoping that we have those eve lighting that come down, they look like headlights, when
Yeah.
they're in a gable like
I haven't
that.
read the code, is it really long like that last one?
Yeah.
For lighting, it's that long?
Well, we have a really good example.
Right, but, oh, really?
Yeah.
Much longer.
Well, I don't want to.
Thank you. Yes.
So, regarding the fixture replacement language, I noticed that you have some that say if you have to come in and get a building permit, then that would be a time that would trigger you coming to conformance. Maybe we need to address the fixture replacement language a little bit, because there are many people like me and others that when your house is fairly new, or you still can get the lighting fixtures, and I have 6 of them outside of mine. The mayor in St. George actually did this with his, backed his trailer into one of the coach lights, and you don't want to replace all your outdoor lights because they all have one theme, they match, you paid a lot of money, so you want to replace that one. Are you really going to make everybody go through now and replace all of their outdoor lights? Or are they going to have one that's black and the other ones are bronze, or if they don't match when you have them on your side of the door? I mean, those are some of the things when you put in your code there you have to be careful of. And typically, if you don't have a drop dead date where everybody has to comply, then you do when you come in, anything you do to your home that requires a building permit or something, then at that time, or if you expand it because it's not conforming, make your house bigger, which would require a building permit, that triggers you if you're not going to have a date to go in and replace those. But I think to have someone that spent, and some people spend $3,000, $2,000 on their light fixtures outside, and one of them breaks, and they can still get it replaced with a light one. Also, too, of course, like any other non-conforming, if the house burned down and they had it before, they could replace them with those same lights if you don't have a drop dead date, which I really don't recommend doing that. I just think you maybe need to tweak that language a little better.
So this is what it says. It says, all operable outdoor light fixtures lawfully installed that do not meet these lighting requirements are considered to be non-conforming fixtures. The applicant must bring such fixtures into compliance with the code with any exterior building permit and/or fixture replacement.
See, that's the problem, is when
On
you say fixture
residential
replacement.
structures, only new
And
exterior
it
fixtures or remodels or on new additions must comply with these
Yeah,
requirements.
and that's the problem with the fixture replacement part, is, you might have someone that has one where they can still get a light that matches the rest of their outdoor lights, but you're saying, oh no, you have to replace all of yours now, or you have one that doesn't match.
So what about and/or
I like the
total
building,
fixture
well, I like the
replacement?
building permit trigger, because they're not just saying, if you're doing something that, otherwise you're just grandfathered in like anything else, and you can continue to have it. And then in the future, if the council decides, and the planning commission that, you've had, it's 5 years from now, and there's still some that you think, okay, it's time to give everybody a drop dead date. You can actually say, by January 1st of this year, everybody comes into compliance, something of that nature. But I just think saying, just a blanket, anytime you replace a light fixture, then you have to bring the compliance, because you may have some people.
Well, and I don't think that's what we were thinking, it's replacing one, you have to all of a sudden go to something and get
Right, I don't
another
think
pipe.
it was one of those unintended things.
So if we're wanting to,
I like the language that you have before that says that if you have to get a building permit or something of that, get a building permit for something that you're doing remodel. It may even be just to have a building permit because you're rewiring things. It's like that might trigger your need to now come into compliance. And that's pretty, an objective standard that people can live with.
Okay.
But the people that, get their lights shot out like my neighbor did, by an error bullet from the property up above, he would have to replace like 6 lights on his house then in order to make them match. And I don't think he really intended that. Yeah, it's lucky that it was up in the preserve. It's lucky he wasn't standing there by his garage. But not everybody's a good shot.
Sounds like you want that.
or what? Okay, yes, who's,
You're live on YouTube.
Tim Farr, live on Smithsonian Way. When we build out here, we build because of the dark skies. I'm an astrophotographer. I had an observatory set up in my backyard to do astrophotography. And we have choice of either building here or building east of Canab, one of those 2-3 acre lots out there. But we decided to build here. And there's a few things you need to know about lighting. On the internet, you'll see conversion charts between watts and lumens, and you can't go by that. That's outdated material. And the reason it's outdated is because we don't use the incandescent filament bulbs anymore. Those charts have to do with converting the old type of light bulb to lumens. So what you have to go by now is what the package says on the lighting itself. Does it say 600 lumens? Does it say 900?
yeah.
And I know that one just went up across the street kind of from me that was for security purposes. Won't go into details there, but anyway, when that thing comes on, it comes on every time a car goes down the road. And it lights up our bedroom every time a car goes down the road, or a bunny crosses through his property, or somebody walks their dog down the road after dark. And those lights are pointing straight out. It lights up a very sizable area. I can go outside between my house and my neighbor's house and actually see well enough to walk around without tripping over anything. The lumens of those lights are way over the old code, and they're light trespassing on other people's property. And that's part of dark sky. What the dark sky idea or movement is trying to do is trying to get people to not trespass on other people's rights to the dark sky.
Yes.
And just on a side note, the University of Utah just started a program up there. They offer classes in dark sky conservation, and they have projects where they're helping communities come in line with dark sky regulations and stuff. University of Utah. Yeah.
How long do they stay on when they go on?
They only stay on for just a few few seconds.
Well,
He does have it cut down, but, you know, if I'm.
But it's still not supposed to be shining out.
Yeah,
It
and
should
when
be
you're coming down the road,
the reason I'm asking this question is because this code is saying 15 minutes, and it's bothering him, and it's only on, say, 30 seconds
Yeah,
or a
the
minute.
lights themselves wouldn't be compliant, being the lumens that they
The
are
lumens
and
are
the
way
angle that
over.
there are.
I agree with you,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking the 15 minutes is too long, that's all.
Oh, sure.
Because that's what your code says, 15 minutes.
yeah, and it's probably 10 seconds, 15 seconds at the most. And then, if you're driving down the road, facing into that light, when it comes on, it blinds you. And that's not good. So the sensor needs to be down, the lights need to be down on your property, not other people's property, not in driver's eyes.
That's exactly what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Is get, floodlights down off of the right line into the yard, and not shining in the neighbor's yard.
Get rid of the light trespass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a picture of it, but I got to turn my phone on. Yes.
I'd like to invite everybody to take a ride down Smithsonian Way and see what the gentleman's talking about. Yeah, look, she knows exactly what we're talking about. I mean, this guy doesn't have a little light that shines out. He's got like a 200-watt floodlight that blinds you as you're coming down the road. I mean, that's about as rude as you could get. Yeah, really, people, take a ride down Smithsonian, you'll see.
Oh, yeah, don't look familiar.
I think your husband should go see it.
Well, he's sitting on the other side.
Well, sounds like your husband should go see it.
Well, they just need to adjust it, the water.
Adjust that, so it's pointing down.
Adjust it and decrease the lumens,
Yes.
which means you'll have 6 lights in. It's part of what.
All right. Any other questions or yes?
Yes, Rich Cop, 1193 Big Canyon. So that was a question. Now, the fixture would have to be changed to compliance. Now, do the lumens have to be changed as the code may change, or can they keep that bulb in until it blows?
No, it should be changed.
It's over the old code. The lumens are above the old code.
Are you talking about his situation or
Well,
everybody?
in general, you say, look, 1,200 is going down to 900, is that?
Well, the way we're talking about, 1,200 is okay until you need to replace it.
Well, 1,800 maybe?
Yeah, but-
Or 1,800, yeah.
And then more LEDs left.
I don't know, I think something like a light bulb's a lot easier to change than an entire fixture. I don't see why you can't go out and buy a new bulb.
Read what it says, let me see.
Because we're just talking about the fixtures, not the light bulbs themselves.
Yeah.
I think all light bulbs should be brought into compliance
I second that.
I'm not
immediately.
I'm not
Do
sure
we
you
wanna
can
get
do that.
like-
Cynthia, your answer to real bit.
Yes.
Well, I think that's gonna be more difficult to do. What it sounds like right now is that you have a lot of residents that are in violation of your current ordinance.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And so, really, I think you'd make a lot of difference if you just went out right now and said, okay, here are the new standards, and when you have to come in, when these things trigger you having to bring your fixtures into compliance, but if your fixtures aren't in compliance right now with our current ordinance, you need to get those fixed. The one thing I would tell you is you have to apply it uniformly, so you'll have to just, and so that might be the courtesy notice to all the residents to saying, and on your website saying, we've got this ordinance that's been in place since this year, whenever it was adopted, and we know that some people are in compliance. Just know that beginning on whatever
Okay, so
day
you
you
have to
say.
have a date.
Well, you don't necessarily
No,
have
but
to,
you do,
but
because
it's a
someone might, yeah, this 1,800 lumen bin has lasted for 10 years.
Yeah,
You're
and
like-
you want to, I think you just don't want to appear to be heavy-handed. You want to give
Yeah.
them an opportunity to say, oh, that's right, I know this is not in compliance with the current ordinance, and I need to bring that in. And then, of course, you have the new ordinance, and as people come in and build their homes or install new lights, they'd have to be in compliance with your new ordinance. But you have a lot right now that are not in compliance with.
Yes.
But just to clarify though, the code probably cannot just say you have to get new light bulbs, does it?
I think that part is problematic,
You
because
can
who's
say it
gonna?
needs to be brought into compliance by the state, though.
You can, and if you have in your current ordinance, besides just the directional, you have a lumens or something on there, and they're in violation of that, you could just let them know that they're in violation of that they would have to change it then for the current. That, the one that's in place right now, because they've had plenty of notice that they need to be.
But if we change this,
Uh-huh.
and then they're notified that they're not in compliance, they weren't in compliance before, so
Right.
shouldn't they be brought into the new?
No, because that's the hard part. You know, you could take that line, I think you have a lot of residents, I think you'll be surprised at the number of residents here that
But
are.
I was breaking the rules, but now I want to follow the rules, the old rules, but not the new ones.
Right, and that's a discussion we could have with the council
Okay.
about that, on how if they want to do it that way or not, because, you know, you could say that you weren't in compliance before, so you're not grandfathered in, so to speak.
Exactly.
But I don't know if that's a policy question that you'll have to answer. But certainly, you can go out and enforce your current ordinance.
I just think that this is a subject that most people would support anyway, because they want to protect the night skies. I don't think we're gonna have tons of pushback with people about trying to protect so you can see the stars. And I think that if we ask in the right way, and it's all for the same goal, we're gonna have I think we'll have more people willing to comply and there will be some that.
There are people that are non-compliant and it's not intentional.
Right.
They just
We
didn't
plenty of
realize
those.
it.
Right. But anyway, I'm just glad we're trying to improve a little bit, because it's important to have it.
So that's a discussion that the council can have, and you can make a recommendation if you'd like to the council on how to handle that, and they can have that discussion.
Yes.
I got one comment. Maybe possibly, I don't know if this works or not, you're wanting to kind of get like a deadline for this. Maybe one of the things would be along with your building permit, if the house changes property, owners, they're gonna go sell it, maybe they'll update their life before they can make the sell. That way it gets updated sooner than later. I'm just throwing something out there, I don't know. What do you think of that?
I vote for that.
Yeah, I think you could have different triggers that would require people to come into compliance. It's with the council, it's a policy decision of the council, I think, at that point.
I could see someone, I just brought mine into compliance even though they were in compliance in the old one. And, you know, we spent close to $3,000. I can see me selling that and someone saying, I have to spend $3,000 to update my lights.
Yeah.
You know, I can see that would get a lot of pushback on that because I want to sell my house, so.
You want to strike a balance.
Someplace in there has got to be a happy medium, but, you know,
If
you
you're
guys
in
can decide what you
compliance
want to do.
before you sell, then it shouldn't be involved.
But stuff can be pricey.
But if we issue them a notice that they're not in compliance, then when that person sells their home and they answer the questionnaire at the title company, they're not gonna be able to get a homeowner's policy or title insurance without lying and saying, yeah, I'm in compliance. But if we give them actual notice, then they know that they're not compliant with the lighting. I don't know. Does that work or not?
Well, I don't know that someone's going to look to see if their lighting, if the town sent them a letter saying their lighting was in compliance, if that's going to affect their ability to sell it. What?
No, to get it homeowners policy.
Right, I still don't think so. I mean, I don't know what the town's policy is, but in St. George, we don't give any letters out that say, when they ask us to say that they meet all the zoning requirements, we refuse to do that because we can't go out and verify that they meet every single zoning requirement. So I don't think that really will affect it. I don't think that companies really, they might send out those letters, but they're not gonna say, no, we're not gonna give you a policy until we didn't get that letter back from the town saying you're in compliance with that. So on something like lighting. So I think what it comes back to is, do you want to go out right now and let people know that you're gonna be enforcing the current ordinance, on the existing homes, and then do that uniformly, and then also you will adopt this that says that any new building or new lights that go up have to be in compliance with the new ordinance, or if you hit those triggers, which is some type of building permit that's required on your home, that then you would have to come into compliance with the lighting.
Could you also put a drop dead date on the old lighting, 3 years, 5 years?
You can. I know another small town in this county that did that, and then decided to enforce it as they got complaints in, and then that ran into a whole bunch of problems
I can
because,
understand that.
well, one of them was the church down the street's parking lot
Yeah.
lights. Those clearly are in violation, and you town have not gone after them. Why are you going after me in my arena? So you open up kind of a can of worms that way. But I mean, I don't know that the Chevron meets that right now, but I think our night sky. Oh, there you are. I mean, I think you would agree that the Chevron lights are way too bright in that canopy. Really, even for safety, they're brighter than they need to be for safety. So, you know, are you willing to go after them and say, under their current ordinance, it may not even meet the current ordinance, and say you have to go back and change your lighting in your canopies at the Chevron? You know, you may not want to. I don't know, but you have to be uniform in your enforcement. So if you have a drop dead date where everybody has to convert, then you better enforce it.
You have to have somebody to do that.
So if it said something like, all operable outdoor light fixtures lawfully installed that do not meet these lighting requirements are considered to be non-conforming fixtures. Light fixtures should be brought into compliance with any exterior building permit or under new ownership or by 2025, whichever comes first.
That's an option that you can do and run it down. I would change the should to a shall.
Shall. Will. I mean, 2025.
Like what, January or December?
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, true.
But yeah, that sounds good to me.
Does anyone have any issues with that?
No.
Yes, Rich Cup, 1193, just a clarification. For instance, I'm selling a house right now. Even though I don't keep my lights on outside, I know they're not in compliance. So you saying I must change those fixtures before I sell?
Well,
Just a question.
New ownership.
I didn't say new ownership.
Okay.
But is that, by new ownership, is that person who buys it, is that, they're the ones that.
Either way, you'd have to disclose it. It'd be a seller disclosure problem.
Yeah. And again, if you have a large home with a lot of exterior lights that aren't in compliance, that could be a pricey thing just because you bought a house. So
change them and raise the price of your house?
but the drop dead date, you know, you could just not do the change of ownership and have the drop dead date in there, and just say, we know that, you know, we can enforce what we had before, for those that were in compliance before. They still get to keep them, but they can't go any brighter or anything like that. They still have to meet the old standards until that date, and of course, any new construction does, or any trigger by a building permit. But I do think the sale of property, that's a policy decision, but I think the mayor kind of pointed out that, and Rich, that could also be a problem for someone who's buying a house and now has to spend a lot of money going out and changing all their lights on the exterior of their home.
I like the drop dead date. At least then we have a target one that's, we're gonna be able to get everybody in compliance.
So not worry about new ownership, but leave at least, building permits and January 1st, 2025.
And then maybe to clarify a point that you had earlier, Cynthia, is that if someone is not in compliance now, new standards go into effect, they will have to meet the new standards. Because they're not grandfathered in because they didn't have it wasn't lawful before. That doesn't sound very clear, and I apologize.
I know what you were saying, though.
Yeah,
It's just- I'm trying to figure out where.
How do you say that?
Yeah.
Yes, Rich Cop, oh, sorry, Rich Cop, 1193, East Big Canyon. I don't want the fact that I'm selling a house to sway you guys either one way or the other. I want what you guys think is your honest opinion. If you guys say, look, yeah, I'm gonna have to change my lighting, whatever it is, it is. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that to be part of the decision. So your recommendation to the council, put it that way.
Okay.
The only reason why I said that, most people don't put carpet or paint or something like that in the house anyways. Go for a place that you like, and then it's up to code and everybody's happy, but it doesn't matter, whatever works.
Well, I guess if we have the date, though, that at least gives us an end result.
That's good enough. Hey.
You just have to sell your house for 2025, okay?
Oh, yeah, you just put.
I did not put any changes.
Yes?
No, I did not. But I changed her.
So there really nothing
Okay,
on the
so,
motion.
I put that in there. Any other comments about this? We will have to figure out how to put if you're non-compliant when the ordinance takes effect, you are bound by the new ordinance.
Yeah, I don't think you even need to state that in there.
Well, because
that is
that should
just
be-
as the law of
Okay.
non-conforming
Then
uses.
thank you. I would
You know,
rather not add
If your
more.
use wasn't in conformance with the prior law, then you just weren't in conformance, so.
But if they were, then but then not in the new one, they've got till 2025.
Right. It's the same as, an analogy would be if someone did an addition to their home but never got a building permit and they did it, 20 years ago, and now that they're coming in because we're saying you need to get this in compliance, they can't say, well, I want to do it to the standards of 20 years ago. You have to meet the current building code in order to bring that.
We've got a lot of that going on.
Okay, did we think we needed to change the wording, because I think we said something about on a timer?
Are you guys done with the public hearing?
No, not yet, I haven't closed it. Something about the 15 minutes limit.
He was saying, come on for a few seconds, and he was complaining about it, so I was just thinking the 15 might be a little too long, 5 minutes maybe, or...
Well, like you said, there shouldn't be any light pollution on in a neighbor's yard.
Well, there's that issue, but is 15 too long, is all I'm saying. Should be 10, should be 5, should be something else, I don't know. Just seemed like longer than they had to be. The spotlights are meant as security, or just, they come on and they go off. It's not I want to leave it on for an hour and a half.
Well, why doesn't he have it pointing down where he needs security?
It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, that's what they'll have to. Okay, is there, no? Yeah?
Maybe if we're gonna do the last time, maybe it needs to be in a certain part of if it's in the front or maybe a neighbor's house, if it's in the back door, maybe they get their 15 minutes in the backyard. I don't know.
As long as it stays in their own yard.
Doesn't
I
really
don't care how long it
matter.
stays.
Yeah, I kind of think that the time issue isn't a big deal if they are angled properly. It shouldn't be.
One guy's
Yeah.
backyard's my front yard, though. So.
But I mean, it shouldn't be out anyway.
You see what I'm saying, though?
Yeah. Down.
We have Mount Zion Circle, the guy's got a spotlight that shines right towards our side of our house.
I know, my neighbor across the street.
It
shines right
stays on
by
all
me.
night.
Well, I kind of think if we get this on the books, we'll, I'm sure, find things we need to tweak. But at least this is,
Improvement.
yes, it's kind of how I'm looking at it.
This is also going to the council, and if they come up with
Want to,
something else, they can go.
yeah, we just recommend,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
All right, so, that's all. All right,
That's,
so I move to close the public hearing on the lighting ordinance.
Second.
Vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Alright.
Okay. Then we have. This one's short though, right? This is little. So, yeah, this, for letter H, hearing for amendments to Town Code 1028-100, parking requirements of private recreational vehicles in residential zones. So, I move that we open the hearing for amendment to Town Code 1028-100, parking requirements of private recreational vehicles in residential zones. Vote.
Aye.
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 All right. So, all right, so what this is short enough that we can just read this. It says, the location or storage of mobile homes, travel trailers, recreational vehicles, boats, camping trailers, and truck campers, and other recreational vehicles and equipment may be parked subject to the following. 1. Recreational vehicles, including boats, travel trailers, motorhomes, horse trailers, and similar vehicles kept in reasonable repair and operable condition may be located in a detached or attached garage or other accessory building or parked in the rear yard or side yard and screened from front yards and streets by wall, fence, gate, landscaping, or other suitable screening material. 2. A mobile home, travel trailer, recreational vehicle, boat, camping trailer, or truck camper may be located in the front yard for the purposes of loading and unloading for a period not to exceed 48 hours. 3. A properly placed recreational vehicle may be occupied temporarily by family members or guests of the owner. However, no boat, trailer, motorhome, travel trailer, or similar recreational vehicle shall be occupied for a period greater than 30 days, renewable online at the town website. So it at least gives us, keeps track of how long.
What's the renewable online?
Well, somehow permit got
Yeah.
left out here.
And,
Well, I think it was supposed to say.
Permit can be
for 30
renewable
days.
online,
yeah, but is this open-ended? I mean, I can just live in my travel trailer now and just
No,
renew
it only
every
can
30
be
days?
renewed two other times, 2 more
And
times.
that doesn't
So
say that.
that's not on here.
Yeah, it was supposed, that was supposed to be.
Yeah.
More than that.
Maximum of 90 days.
I think it was 60, but
No, 3, if you have it
I thought it
once
was
and then 2
60.
more times.
And then 2 more times would be
days.
90.
So it was 90 and 12-month window.
was it? Okay. Yeah, we did that. Somewhere we had permit in there and that got lost.
Okay, so, greater than 30 days. What? A permit is renewable.
Well, you probably should point out that the first one needs to be a permit.
Okay,
That's
so,
not real clear to me. Maybe.
shall be
Well,
occupied,
permanent period rather than 30 days.
shall be occupied,
Cynthia?
yeah.
I only have one issue with you gotta put a screen or a fence in front of it. If you put it on the side of your house, you should be able to put it on the side of your house. The screen and the fence, that should be in some CCNR and subdivision, not townwide. That's ridiculous.
Well, that's what it's always said, so, I mean,
That's what
honestly,
that-
that's what's
what
always
that
been
was
in the
made
code.
6 months ago, it wasn't what it was always said.
Yep, it was.
Yeah, actually,
Quite a while.
that's been part of it for a long time. The only thing that's really new that we're fixing is this renewable permit with the limit of how long you can live in an RV. And so it's always said that, even in the side yard, it has to be screened, but if that's something we want to
I think we should address that. 'Cause I think that's ridiculous.
reword, then that's something that's totally
I support that.
new, so, yeah.
Well, I have a situation in my development where somebody's side yard is my front yard, and I don't need to look at the garbage that's in their side yard. So their backyard is
This is back to the same discussion we've had on the
Yeah.
other.
Every 2 weeks.
with side
yeah.
obscuring fences.
Yes,
Larger lots
we
are
do.
different from smaller lots.
Fences make good neighbors.
outside of securing fences. So I think that's why we had that in there, and that's been in here for as long as I remember, so.
But if a 6-foot fence not gonna cover an RV that's 12.5 feet tall anyways, what good is that gonna do?
Well, I know, and, you know, my RV is just up in my driveway. It's not screened, except for my car's parked in front of it, so.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Not-
I have trees on my side yard.
I think that part should go, is all I'm saying. Other than that, I don't mind.
If you got a fence in front of it, how do you get it out?
12-foot gate.
So you're talking about a 6-foot gate, not a 6-foot fence.
Screen.
Because you can't move it.
Privacy, so nobody can see it.
But that's something to think about, like yours. How are you gonna be?
So, yeah, this wasn't really one of the things we were looking at, but we can, since it's right here and we're having a hearing for it. So where it says, may be located in a detached or attached garage or other accessory building, or parked in the rear or side yard. What, period?
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Park in the rear, park on the side. Not out front, not on the street, there's nothing wrong with that.
Because we're gonna let people stay in it, and this is the thing, mainly trying to get rid of people living in their RVs.
Okay, but that's still, we still need to figure out how we're going to fix 3. Have you been thinking about that, Celeste?
I'd just say shall be occupied with a permit for a period not to exceed 30 days. Renewable online. What do we say, 90 days?
With a maximum 90 days and a 1-year window is what you gotta say.
Well, I remember us saying a 1-year window. Did we say a 1-year window?
We did at one point, I don't know
I
if that's
actually
over
have the
last
edits,
time.
I don't think the edits that you guys made it into.
I think you
I
said
don't know what happened to them.
per calendar year or
But I'm
something.
gonna look at what I have them down on.
Oh, okay.
I just need to get a
I don't
code
know,
from
I
that
think we
window.
took that out because we decided to permitting, we know.
Take a permit, you say take a permit out.
No, we want.
No, we want to know who's here.
Cynthia, I think you did say that per calendar year or something like that. It was a, in other words, we didn't want
It
this,
was, the way it had been changed was, the initial permit was for 30 days, and you could receive another permit, for an additional 30 days, for a total of 60 days in 1 year. That's what we
Okay,
ended up.
okay.
That's why I
So
remember.
renewable just once.
Right.
Yeah.
So for 60 days.
But
And,
per year, per calendar.
Per calendar year.
So you could do 60 in one calendar year and then 60 more in the next calendar year.
Sure. That's
You
better
could
than
do
doing it year
120
round.
days in a row.
Right,
So done then.
if you started it right.
And that's what we're trying to get rid of altogether.
Yeah, we were trying to get rid of that and we haven't done that.
No, we haven't.
Okay, well, it says, however, no boat, trailer, motorhome, travel trailer, or similar recreational vehicle shall be occupied for a period greater than 30. So it kind of starts with no.
And actually I don't think you want boats to be occupied. That's one of the changes I have here.
You're allowing occupation of the
Yeah.
boat.
Right, that's kind of different. I mean, I don't know if you intended that, but you don't want people living in a boat, right?
Yeah, we're gonna take boat off.
Like, on the open sea, you're great.
Yeah.
But,
Parked on land.
but parked on land, yeah, maybe not such a good idea.
I don't know
Also,
why, I understand the difference between a trailer and a travel trailer. I've never owned any of those, so I don't know.
I think this is one of those old-fashioned, drafted the old-fashioned way where lawyers used to say the same thing 5 different ways. You don't really need to do that anymore, but I think what that's the intent is just to say anything that's of that sort where you can live in. It might be a tent trailer, you know.
Well, travel trailer covers that.
Right, and I think that's why it's in there. However, in this, I do have some changes when you're ready, because I think there's some.
Get in line.
Oh.
They got those. Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
Okay. do we need a number 4 then? This is saying it shouldn't be occupied for a period, or we need to change it so it's, okay.
You could fold that language in 3 and it would work very well. If you're talking about that one extension that you're allowed.
We should take boats out of it.
We did.
No idea, I crossed off boat and the first trailer, so it does. Okay, well then we can just say, instead of saying no should be greater than 1, we could say, a motorhome, travel trailer, or similar recreational vehicle, may be occupied with a permit for a period of,
Not more than 30 days.
well, we could say for a period of 30 days, renewable one more time for 60 days total in the calendar year or something like that. Yeah. Yes.
Rich Cop 1193, I remember at one of the other meetings, you had a non-consecutive in there, preventing you going from November, December, January, February, so you're 4 months, so it was like, for some reason, it was like a non-consecutive.
We definitely talked about it.
Yeah, right.
I
Remember that too.
We didn't know how to word it right.
So that would be their 60 days at the end of one calendar year and 60 more days at the beginning of the next. But then they're done for the rest of the year, right? So I mean, so yeah, you might have some people do a loophole thing where they're in the trailer for 4
It
months,
would be,
but
it would be an odd thing, I have to admit. You could say no more than, 2 or 3 consecutive permits. Like Rich said. What's everybody, Margie has a thought, maybe Margie will clarify here.
I do have a comment. You could have actually somebody, pull their trailer in, like November, December, and then January, February, so you have someone stand there 4 months.
That's what we just
That's
said.
all. Well, I can't hear back here.
we should not hear. Could be the riffraff in the back row. Well, that's where I sit when I'm not up here. I'm riffraff too.
It's warmer back there.
Yeah.
Sean, did you have something else you wanted to change in the wording?
Yes. The name of the ordinance or the title is parking, and then it has this kind of awkward language of locating and place. So what I'd recommend is at the beginning that you strike the location or storage, because you don't want storage in there.
No.
So it should just read mobile homes, travel trailers, recreational vehicles, boats, camping trailers, and truck campers, and other recreational vehicles and equipment may be parked subject to the following. Very direct.
Nice.
And then on number 1, where it says may be located in a detached, it should be may be parked in a detached garage. Then in 2, where it says a truck or camper may be located, that should also just say parked. And then in 3, it should say a properly parked.
So you're
And you
having
should probably say
language
legally
continuity,
parked.
good.
Yeah, and so that's all consistent, you know, in there, and it's just talking about parking, and there's no mistaking that you can't use your home as a storage
Good
place
catch, I
for
like that.
trailers.
Yeah, I like that.
All right.
Okay, we did want to add in here that you could, there's an exception that you could use your RV for, while you're building your home.
Somewhere else in the code.
Yeah, that should be somewhere else, I don't know where.
Yeah, this is just a,
Somewhere else.
Is it?
Yeah.
okay.
Probably wherever you're allowed a shipping container while you're building something.
No,
So there really
I
should be
got
something
all
like
that.
So we're putting a period after yard in number 1, side yard period, and crossing off the rest. All right, and then number 2, we're changing located to parks. Everything else is okay for 2.
In one, you had park also.
Yeah, maybe parks and a detached, okay. And then, for number 3, this is what I have, tell me if it's not clear. A properly parked recreational vehicle.
And why don't we say legally? And then that way there's no question on what proper
It's
means.
not proper, it's legal, okay. Has a little more weight to it. Good to have the money. All right, so a legally parked recreational vehicle may be occupied temporarily by family members or guests of the owner. A motorhome, travel trailer, or similar recreational vehicle may be occupied with a permit for a period no greater than 30 days, that may be renewable once for a total of 60 days per calendar year, or something like that.
Need to add who's getting the permit.
What?
The homeowner. The homeowner gets the permit, not Uncle Bob gets it one month, Aunt Susie gets the second.
Good point.
Okay.
We have a little tiny exclusion there for somebody that's coming down for the weekend, not trying to stay in it for a month at a time. My sister-in-law and her husband come down and they stay literally Friday and Saturday and they're gone. Why do I need to go get a permit for the weekend? That's stupid. If they're gonna stay there for a month, okay, fair enough. Let's do it, but.
Is
for
there
the
a minimum
weekend,
days? We've
I
got
think we have some
maximum.
kind of exception for something like that.
Okay, so,
Who would watch that though? That's the whole point of the permit is so we know
There's
when the
plenty of
clocks
neighbors,
work.
plenty of neighbors will say that guy's been there for a month, he needs a permit, so get him in trouble.
You know, I think that kind of makes sense.
You can erase it.
That would make sense. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, if my family comes down 4 times a year and they only stay 2 or 3 days, like he's saying, I'd use up 2 of those permits, and the other 2 times they
Okay.
sleep in the trailer at night.
Get a weekend pass.
It's illegal.
Yes,
Right,
weekend pass sounds right.
With the wording the way it is right now.
Just have a little exception for the weekend type of deal, not a whole month.
You know, and those 4 times doesn't even equal a month. Doesn't even,
no, I agree, I'm just trying to figure out.
Please.
Yes.
Maybe it could be something where they could just register online to say that they haven't, not that they have to come and get a permit, but to let you know, or call the
Well,
office
we're
and
planning
say-
on having an online permit thing, I think.
Right, but I'm saying just for like the weekend people, even if they called the town and said, you know, Aunt Joe's coming in for 2 days.
Do you want to know that every time that happens?
I think this is probably one where
No.
you
This
can go
looks
ahead.
like to be the easy one, y'all.
Yeah, you can recommend the changes that you have now. This is something we could discuss with the council. I think that's problematic. I hate to say this, but most cities, while they don't allow you to have an occupied trailer on your property, look the other way when they have grandma and grandpa coming over for a day or 2 or a week. And I can tell you could drive around St. George and see, even on the street sometimes, there will be one where you can see the cord running to it, but they're not there for very many days and people just kind of let it go. But if we're going to get into trying to...
We're just trying to.
People always try to find a
Permanent
workaround.
residents.
Yeah.
I think we're making more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah, just leave it as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll ignore
And
grandma.
just figure that if somebody's coming for the weekend,
Yeah.
don't ask, don't tell.
I like that.
I'm not
That's
officially
on the
recommending that
record, I
one,
guess.
but I am saying you can make this ordinance too complicated.
Yes.
And really, you don't want to overcomplicate
There's no-
people's lives
yeah,
with having to
there's
do
no-
that.
Or you can just say.
We're just trying to get away from people
Anybody in the
living.
state.
Right, that's exactly what you're trying to do, and I think that what you're doing right now is making that clear, that you cannot do that unless you have a permit. You can only do it for 2 times, and for a total of 60 days in a year, and right now, as it stands, you could do the 4 months, but
If you want time
how
properly.
many people are actually gonna do that? It's something you need to address, you know.
We're probably in trouble there.
Are we doing it?
But it's been more than 4 months, so out of compliance, therefore. Okay, so we won't worry about the weekenders. Are we wanting to keep it so it says renewable online, or just maybe renewable until we actually for sure get an online thing? They just need to know that it can be online when we get that going.
And even if it was online right now, I wouldn't recommend putting that in your
It can
list.
just be maybe renewable once.
And then you just have the process for doing it.
Is that a problem then? No,
Okay.
because that just makes it easier.
Did you get that one?
I'll need that for me.
So does that,
Sounds good.
any other questions or comments about the RV thingy? All right.
I mean, I understand what he's saying, but I do have a concern that one or two planning commissions down the road, that they're gonna be like, hey, but this is what the code says, and so why are we letting people stay for 2 days on a weekend? I almost feel like you need to add something that allows it, or you're gonna run into problems down the road.
Someone's gonna come in and get a citation for having grandma here for 2 days.
I just, that's kind of the same situation we're running into with the shipping containers is, they were allowing it, kind of, and then new people come in, and now we're trying to enforce it, but it's really not enforceable because they were never following through with the code before, so.
Okay, how many days do you want to give?
And if you do that,
That's-
I will say that if you do it that way though, now you're gonna say, okay, they can't go more than 48 hours. And then it's, well, can they do it more than 48 hours 4 times a month? And, that's where it starts going, you're going down that rabbit hole, and your ordinance is gonna get very long there on how to.
Leave for a day and come back.
I'm just saying that, because if you're gonna do that, you're gonna have people that will say,
Right.
Basically, we're
I'm
giving,
gonna have, they were there for 48 hours every single weekend. And for all intents and purposes, you have the weekend casita for someone until they reach their, and they'll say they don't have to get a permit.
Right.
So now you don't even have the 30-day max on them, or the 60-day.
But they would be able to do that anyway, right?
Maybe not, because you could look at that and say, for the way we view that right now, is you are occupying that. This isn't one incidental use that grandma and grandpa came over to visit, or mom and dad. Now you're having someone there every weekend, that's being occupied, and we think that's illegal.
run into selective enforcement.
Well, is it selective enforcement if someone has done it for 2 months in a row versus just once a year or twice a year?
Well, if there's 5 all over the city, and then we pick out the one, because somebody said something, and so that one person gets a citation, then it's selective enforcement.
Well, a lot of people speed and not everyone gets a ticket, so I don't know.
Always a good example. But, yeah, and so that's the problem, is if you're gonna make that exception, then make sure you put a limit on that exception. And how are you gonna monitor it? Because you don't want someone to have to call it to register every time grandma and grandpa come in, and so now you're. But again, you could recommend what you have now, and between that time and
We
the
can
council.
see if there's a loophole that needs to be closed.
Or a simpler way to fix it. I'm not coming up with it right now on the fly, so.
Leave it as it is.
Okay. I agree. All right, so,
People will
And
do
we
that.
did address that we don't need a screen, that you're gonna recommend that.
yeah, we'll put the period after side yard, not say that it has to be screened. Yeah,
It does make much sense.
so I'll be in compliance now.
And here.
All right, so, yes,
Your side yard, like that one, shipping container in our area, your side yard starts at the front of your garage, so there again, you may be having trailers parked out in, it's technically your side yard, but it's still like 25 feet back.
as long as it's behind the front setback, really. So, yeah, wherever the front part of your house starts,
Is your side yard.
is your side yard, so,
Sounds good.
yeah.
It's reasonable.
Okay. So, move that we close the public hearing on for parking of, private recreational vehicles in residential zones.
I second.
Vote.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
By the way, one last thought on that. With the 30 days, it doesn't have to be 30 days, right? So if grandma and grandpa are coming to visit and they're gonna be here 4 days, just get the permit. Yeah, you know, just go get the permit, you got the 4 days, they can be here, you get another opportunity to get a permit later on. If it truly is occasional, that still stops the people that wanna use the loophole to do it every weekend and use it.
So you'll have 26 days left on the first one then?
You may not. You may just have it for that. You just got your first permit and it's up to 30 days, so you used your one, now you got your second one. You could do it that way
Your
too.
mother-in-law that. You gotta be out of here.
Yeah. Wait, did you say your brother-in-law gets it?
That's not good, because then until we have someone like.
Just saying that's an option right
Yeah,
there.
that's not a good option.
But
That's not a good option.
just saying, if you want to do that, not have to select a enforcement.
We closed that hearing. But yes, that's an idea.
Off we go.
Yeah, Forrest had said something like maybe we can have like some, you know,
7 or 8 day permit, but
Up
but
to-
8 of them 80 years.
yeah, I mean, we can break it up in different ways, I suppose.
Well, if you-
Only have it renewable once.
All right, and so,
Okay.
Where are we?
well, we technically have, 2 more hearings back to go up to A and B, unless we're wanting to.
Don't we need to do discussion and action, or do we?
Oh, yeah, we need to do discussion and action of F, G, and H, sorry.
You don't have to do that today, I mean, it would probably be better, because we have people here and we've already posted and mailed out letters to have people come to those hearings, so if we postpone them, we have to redo that. So it would be better to do the hearings unless you really feel strongly that you need to make those recommendations today.
Well, I mean, I think the recommendations take a second. Yeah, the recommendations shouldn't, because we are,
Changing things anyway.
yeah, I mean, I think our outdoor lighting is, you know, fine to follow, right? We weren't, with the changes made.
I think we should review the changes to make sure we got it right this time.
Yeah.
Then we
For
can
that
read it
one line.
printed out with changes.
Well, like Mayor says, we're doing this survey, so are we wanting to
Well, that's,
make that input?
yeah, that's for the, accessory
For
buildings.
the
For
accessory buildings, right.
Yeah, we're waiting
So
to,
there's no point doing discussion and action on that, is there?
No, just a lighting and the parking.
so yeah, that's
Well, like
what,
Lee says, we're not real clear on the lighting either.
How we're down.
I don't.
well, I thought we cleared up the lighting.
Yeah.
Well, Lee, what's wrong with lighting? I thought it was pretty good.
Well, I think we can go with it.
Okay. Well, let's just do those 2 then.
If we need to change something in the future, we can do that too.
So those 2, the lighting and we just had kind of the end date
Yeah.
for the, yeah.
Drop dead. I like that word.
Okay, so for, letter I, we're just kind of putting that aside, so we're not making a decision on that because we're waiting for, yeah.
We need to make that a motion.
Well, we can make it official, so,
You need to, he says we do.
okay, so go ahead.
Oh, thanks. I move we, table the item I, recommendation from the planning commission on changes to county code 10-28-230, accessory building and accessory use of general requirements.
A second.
Vote.
Aye.
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 All right. Okay, let's do letter J.
Who's doing that? I'm not doing it.
All right, I move that we forward the, the town code amendment for 1026 outdoor lighting. Recommend for approval to the town council.
As discussed.
Yes, with the changes that there's the end date of January 1st, 2025 to bring into compliance. For any that are not in compliance right now.
Aye.
Aye.
So we didn't get a second.
Jen?
Yeah, I second.
She did, okay,
We did say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We're all tired.
A little tired.
Okay. Okay. Letter K, who's doing that one?
Wendy or
Cynthia.
I did J. You could do J.
just like
Where
move-
is it?
move.
I move that we send to the town council our changes on the town code 10-28-100 parking requirements on private recreational vehicles and residential zones as discussed.
Right.
Second.
Yeah?
Aye.
Yeah, but aye.
Aye.
All right.
Moving on.
All right, so then, the letters A and B. The first is hearing for general plan amendment for AV 1377E from residential to agricultural. And then hearing for zone change from planned for the same lot, from planned development to Ag 5. And so the first hearing is the general plan amendment. So,
That's you?
That's me.
well, we'll open it here. Okay, so are we gonna do this then?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
All right. So I move that we open the public hearing for general plan amendment for AV 1377E from residential to agriculture.
Well, question, why do you want to change from, this would be a perfect lot for, RE5.
Okay. Well, I have a whole presentation, but I'm gonna make it very short because it's late, so I'm not gonna go. Do you want me to speak up here or
Yes,
just
please.
back over here? Okay.
I don't remember your name.
Jason Grant.
Thanks.
Okay, so, there's several reasons, and I'll go through them, but first off, I have some pictures here. I only printed one, they're kind of expensive, so just pass them down. This is an overall view of the property, so you can get an idea of where I'm at. And as you see, there's a wash that goes through the property, and divides the property between a 3-acre parcel, 3-acre portion, and a 7-acre portion, so I'm a little bit limited on how we build the 3-acre portion is closer to my neighbor where the utilities are, so that's the portion we'll be building on. That parcel is a little over 6 miles from here. From anything considered Apple Valley proper, it's over 6 miles. It's actually closer to Hilldale.
Now, which side of your, or your, okay.
Okay. And looking down, this is looking down the road. The road that serves the property is a dead-end road. It only serves 3 other parcels that would drive down the road to my property. And 2 of them are very large parcels, and one of them is a 17-acre parcel as well. So it's a dead-end road with little to no traffic, which is part of the reason we moved there. This is another photo of the property to the south of me that's just fenced. They're grazing cattle on it. I believe it's still zoned planned development. They're not building on it, so they have no reason to rezone it from what I understand. But it's a large parcel, and they're all grazing cattle on that directly next to me. There's another photo of that. And so part of the reason why I want to zone to agriculture is that's what's there. That's what's being done in the area, the neighboring parcels that are right there, and that's what I hope to be able to do someday. I grew up on a small farm. I spent a lot of time looking for property, and this property in particular, and I go out there and you see that's the uses that's going on around there. It's not a residence. This isn't Cedar Point. It's not St. George. This is very agricultural. People are grazing cattle on there. There people are raising animals. It's fenced. That's what it is. So that's one of the reasons. And one day I have 5 daughters, and so one day I hope to be able to have more cows at some point. But so that's part of the reason. It's a long ways from the city. It's a dead-end road. You've seen the photos. The neighboring properties, there's a planned zoning map overlay on the city's website. It shows the properties to the east of me are planned to be zoned agricultural, that are directly adjoining my property. It's a 10-acre parcel.
So that's all low density now.
What's that?
It's all low density now.
Yeah. Part of the other reason is that I've gone through the rural estate zoning, which it's been suggested I be a part of, and those rules scare the heck out of me. I don't want any part to do of them at all. You know, I spent 10 years in the Army protecting everybody's rights for that, and I feel they violate mine. And I don't want any part of that. However, I need to build a house. So I'm renting a house right now while we've been waiting to get going. We've been working on this project for a year, so we need to get something done here. Now, assuming everybody else is here, probably to speak against me why I shouldn't be zoned agricultural. And I know that the mayor has worked really hard to prevent me from getting agriculture. I got a call from my neighbor, Christian Holt, right next to me, that says the mayor called him and told him he was looking for somebody to try to go against me zoning to agriculture. I was kind of shocked. In fact, he told me the mayor told him, don't call Jason and tell him that this is going on. He told him that I was going to be building a building like this that would be blocking his view. He specifically referenced the Jessup building. Right here, saying I'm going to build this building and I'm going to block his view and I'm going to have cows grazing right on his property line. This is what Christian Holt told me. I am not building this. This building.
That's a junkyard.
Right. This is a big 2-story. I don't even know how many square foot it is. It's huge. Whatever it is, that's not what I'm building. I submitted a permit for a 2,400 square foot shop, brand new shop that's painted the same as the house and is only a portion. And not 2-story, 15 foot is the peak. Also, I found a piece of property here that some of you might recognize that's on a 7.44 acre parcel. That's less than a mile from where we're located. That is zoned agricultural. 7.44, and I have 10 acres. And it's zoned agricultural. And that person, the mayor, can have whatever animals he wants, and he has a shop much bigger than the one that I want to build. I don't know how that's really all that fair. So
It's been land for a long time.
So I'm just requesting the same as the other citizens have got in the area. For some reason that was chosen to be zoned ag. There's a big space right next to it, and that's what people do around there. It's exactly what I have. Big space, lots of people are grazing cattle, that's what it is around there. It's consistent use, and that's what I'm asking.
There are also residential zones there too. And you say you're surrounded by ag, but it's not, there's residential as well.
There's one.
There's also someone else that came in and requested agriculture for kind of the same reason and they needed to make it RE. So it's not like you'd be the only one out there residential. What is it that you're wanting to do that you can't do in a residential estate?
Well, I could only have 10 large animals if I'm rural estate, and I wouldn't want to be limited.
On 10 acres?
Yes.
No, you can have more than that.
No, it says right in the code, it's 100 points per acre with a maximum of 10 animals per lot. It says per lot, that's what the code says. So when I read that, when I say per lot, it doesn't matter if it's 5 acres, 10 acres, or 50 acres. I can only have 10
That's an acre.
large. It says per lot.
Well, no, you're not going to have 10 per acre.
Well, I thought it was 10
Yes, per lot.
per.
You get 100 points per acre,
Yeah,
up
100
to.
points per acre, so you get 100 points.
What's the big
50 points for a big hooked animal, so it's gonna be 2 per acre. So I should have 20, but the way the law caps it at 10.
Well, that, and if you have goats and things like that, it takes a while.
Well, then there's additional points to that, so that
Yeah, we
limits
get
that.
100 net.
In addition, my wife would like a potbelly pig as a pet. We couldn't have that in RE zoning. There's no pigs, even a pet. There's no pigs at all.
Can't have them in agriculture.
What's that?
Can't have them in ag either. Unless
You
you're
can.
raising wiener pigs.
We had a whole discussion about wiener pigs.
No wiener
Yeah,
pig.
I'll have a wiener pig pet is what I would prefer. But, that's just another of the reasons. So yes, there is one, but Christian didn't even know what the RE zoning codes were. He just went along with it because he got fought so much in trying to get his building permit through, and he was told, well, you need to zone to RE, so he's, okay, went along with it.
Frank
Yes.
is the one that told him what to zone his property. I was sitting right here in this meeting. Frank said, you need RE5. He said, whatever, let me build my house.
That's all he wanted. So that got zoned RE just because he didn't know and didn't question. And he wanted nothing to do with all this. After that phone call with the mayor and talking to me, he's, it's your property, you do with it what you want.
This is getting to our general plan that we have since, the general plan wants to make that more an RE area.
Or RE1F, or no?
No, it was, low density.
Yeah, so it was RE5 was that area plus.
Well, RE5 is zoning, the general map would be a low density, and then we're gonna define low density.
Well, yeah, low density
But it
though
wouldn't be
was,
a specific,
started out 5.
But
Right now, it's
density, hang
specific.
on, one thing.
or that's.
We made the general map. We made it. We don't own that land. We didn't go out there and ask everybody that owns it what they wanted. We just decided this is what we want, and we made it.
Well,
Now we have a property
actually,
owner.
there have been
We have a
discussions.
property owner that wants to change it.
Okay, but
Let's address it.
we discussed it, but we also know that there were like little roundtable discussions with all the different neighborhoods and
There
what
was
they,
a survey.
So let me interject a couple things. The conversation I had with Christian's been embellished a little bit. Christian sent me an email. I just called him to let him know that you want to put a shop building up by the road and that you like to work on tractors. So I'm not sure what that means. And then he's taken it from there, but he also sent me the email saying that he didn't like the idea. I've had a conversation with Cynthia saying that whatever you decide, I'm going to support you on whatever you decide. And I even told you on the phone that across the street from them is someone that's probably got a large piece that can run cattle. Right next to you is Barlow that has a large piece that can run cattle. So I told her, I says, he's got a good argument for that. So I'm not against you on anything, just so you know. I'm not trying to torpedo anything. I just know that they're working on a residential general map change for all of that area based on a survey that we put out to everybody out in Bubbling Wells, probably before you ever bought. And a lot of them said, we just don't want to have anything smaller than 5 acres out there. We want residential. But they wanted to have the ability to have animals and all that. But so ag was going against that.
But they wanted the ability to have animals and
Right.
low density from what I
But
understand.
I did tell her that you got a good argument based on your neighbor having cattle, that you're right next to him, even though you're right next to Christian. And it's a tough call when you're saying, well, I want pigs and, more animals than even what the RE5 or the,
Pigs are no.
but anyway, my point, Hill, is that when you get into that ag, it seemed like I was afraid for Christian that I just want him to be aware of his own application and make sure that he had input in it. That's all I was going for.
Christian currently does not care one way or the other. He understands it's my property and I can do with it what I want. That's what he says.
listen,
You keep saying that, and
it doesn't really work that way.
Doesn't work.
We can have a difference of opinion.
Well, we definitely do.
The code kind of, it's not an opinion, it's the code. So,
Are we saying the general plan has changed at some point from what
We have been discussing changing that
Understand that.
area for that, but we haven't finished it yet.
We
No.
do that every few months. But
We haven't changed it yet, though. We've
that-
talked
that's my
about it.
point. So
Technically,
I'm
no,
not
it
sure-
has not been changed.
So I'm not sure what the discussion is. If it's general plan, and I'm pretty sure it's
Residential
half
half.
acre.
Residential half, yeah.
Exactly. And we're talking about changing the ag?
Nobody that lives there wants a half acre lot.
No, we don't want to have bears who
We,
want
I'm not sure we know that.
So that you don't agree with your plan.
Yeah, we want residential estates.
No, we have our plan that's in flux right now, but then we're also, if we're having a hearing to change the general plan, we're changing it really from what it currently is right now.
How big was Shapley's property?
And you don't need to pick one out of an area and say we're changing your map. If you're gonna change the general plan, you need to change the whole thing, it seems to me. I mean,
It's what?
I don't know that these people down here don't want
He has,
RE.
you've got a picture of their property.
6 acres, so he was wanting to.
Their property right now
Reason they made it
doesn't have much to do with what they might want to do in 5 years.
Oh, they,
But we're here today, and that's what you
I
want today.
understand that, but if you put in ag
so
here,
let me look at that. So you have.
that totally blows any real estate, residential
No,
estate.
that's correct.
No, it doesn't. Absolutely not. That's wrong for us.
So this one.
Well, no, it's not wrong. If the general plan
Right next to
says
it.
no ag, then
So
it's
this
an
was-
open and shut case.
This was Shapley's. He asked for an ag, and we said no. I think we said no because it's residential right here. Okay, this is Holt.
So that is the already thought.
But this is also one that Michelle's saying that we told Shapley not to go. And then this is the subject property right here. And this is the Chihuahuas back here. So,
It doesn't cost anywhere so much property.
this is, yeah,
We probably want to have this discussion out loud so that the public can hear.
Oh, it's,
Yeah, we were just looking at this.
Right. When you're in the public hearing, or you should.
Yeah,
So-
no, you're right.
so all the green says PD,
That is
Right, it's
PD.
currently
the
zoned
current
PD.
zone,
Since
yeah, that's not
2008,
plan.
Now, can I ask one question? Are you the owner?
Yes. So the way the American Heritage Homes is building our home, and the way they're financing, where we put down half of the value of the land just before closing, we switched it from our name to theirs. Once they're done building the house, we refinance it and then switch the deed into our name. So we essentially own the property. Currently, it's in the name of Rock Type Construction, and they have a signed affidavit for me to be here speaking on their behalf.
So they own
They are on the deed currently, yes, but I am the rightful owner.
Oh.
But they did complete an affidavit.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the update on it. Yes,
I do have a question. So,
name.
oh, Margaret Sassi, 124 West Old Pinon. You said you were gonna put a shop up there, and is the shop gonna be a commercial? So if you're gonna run a commercial business out of the shop, then why wouldn't you switch it to
It's not a
commercial?
business.
It's not a commercial business, it's just, I collect antique tractors. So rather than keeping them outside my property laying about, I'd like to store them inside,
Okay.
and that's what the shop is for.
You can do that
So
on
you
a
can do that on
residential
RE?
estate.
There's some things I can do, but there's a lot of things I can't. That's one of my activities.
Yes.
Yes, Rich Cop, 1193 East Big Pinion. Currently, I own a piece of property over there off of Bubbling Wells.
Oh, I'll let them know.
That doesn't, are you on the floor?
Yeah, if you want to say something, you get to take your turn.
Now, I would love to pay ag taxes myself, but guess what? It's OST over there, and now it's RE5, right?
Yes.
So I got a piece of property out there. I don't want people farming right next to me, which is OST right now. You would be setting a precedent. If you allowed him to go this route, now the 20 acres to the side of me, oh, I want ag also. I want cows, sheep, and bulls, and wiener pigs, and whatever. I didn't move out there for that. I knew what the surrounding areas were. So, right now it's currently RE.
Well,
If
it's currently
you
BD.
look across the street to the north of him, it's a train wreck. Where do you think some of these trailers came from? that area over there. So I am totally dead set against it, even though he seems like a nice guy and all. I understand, we thank you for your service. But the fact that you own a piece of property does not give you carte blanche to do whatever you want with it. It's within the confines of the general map and the ordinances. That's what brings some kind of harmony together here. I mean, I don't want that precedent set where the guy next to me all of a sudden has a sheep farm over there. That's not why I bought out there.
I'm on a dead-end road with that feeds 3 parcels.
I'm talking about
But you
setting
said,
precedent.
but that sets precedent.
No, it's all precedent.
Let's clear that part up too. It's not a dead-end road per se. That is also an arterial road on our general map that will go through eventually, through that next property.
This is the survey that you did for the Bubbling Wells residents, right?
Well, I'm talking about the dead-end road part. I just want to make
Yeah.
sure you understand that was a future arterial that we picture going.
And that's the hearing we're having right now is for the general plan.
I know that.
And so we're needing to see, okay, the general plan is, you know, our current plan, what we've passed, but also the future that we're gearing towards the areas as well.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the future, what we were looking at is making that area RE5. Yes.
Fisher. Go down into Hurricane, go drive down 700. We've got people that got crops, orchards, sheep farm, living right next to everybody else. It's not a big deal, nobody complains. People like it.
They were there in the 60s.
The blanket statements are all living.
I lived on that road. I lived on that road for years.
Okay, we gotta have more time.
It does look like Stern World over there.
Richard,
Beautiful.
Yes, ma'am.
all that stuff was there in the 60s. They built up around it.
Right?
So, you know,
It was ag first.
yes. it
And
was
this
ag first
land's
and
been
then
that way
they-
too. I
then
grew
they
up
did
out here. They've been running cows out there my entire life.
But the problem is the general plan calls it residential and the zone calls it planned development, so.
That's why he's here to ask to change it to
Yeah.
what he needs.
But we have to take not just his needs into consideration too.
We have to take other lots that are gonna be built out there.
Yeah, big time. Is there anybody else here that is affected by this change that wants to talk? I mean, I'm happy to sit down.
I don't see any reason why you can't have agriculture. I mean, that's so far out in the weeds, and how big of a farm really can you do on a 10-acre parcel?
With a gully in it.
What's that?
With a gully in it.
Yeah, with a gully in it. I mean, it's cleared out away from any city or big town, and it's a 10-acre parcel to be able to have.
Right in the middle of our town.
Yeah,
You
I
keep saying it's
understand.
out of town, it's not. It's
6
in
miles.
It is.
It's right in the middle of town.
But how many houses literally are within a
Okay,
half a
but what about in
mile
the
square?
future? What about in the future?
In the
You're
future,
saying-
is he gonna be going anywhere in the future? He's gonna own that property, thus he's gonna want to,
Okay,
if he's the one that owns it in the
We
future.
want this to be low density RE5.
What is wrong with the 10-acre piece of agricultural property? What's wrong with that? Tell me what's wrong with it.
I don't
He
see
could have
that.
bought it that way. He could have bought a 10-acre piece of agricultural property.
Right across the highway, there was some available.
Yes.
I think that the chair, in order to keep order, could just ask the applicant to present his proposal, and then have him available to answer any questions that anybody might have. And then anybody who wants to speak, do it one at a time, give their name, and say what they have to say, and they can ask the chair, I wonder what he's going to do with it, then you would direct the question directly to the applicant. That's the proper way to do it now.
Okay.
Keep this informed. But there might be more you want to say, so I don't know if you're concluding.
Well, it's late, I'm done with my main presentation, but I'm happy to answer questions.
Graham, here's your pictures.
And the pictures, because they were presented to the planning commission, but she can digitize them, she can scan them, and then get you the photos
I
back.
just rented these at Walmart so you can have them.
You can get it back.
I do have pictures of my site plan, the shop I want to build, and the house I moved from. If anybody
Technically, all she needs is what you presented to him, so.
Okay, yes.
Charles M. I believe he should have it. He pays the farm. That doesn't matter for this, but I think he should be welcome to it. He's moved here from Washington State. And I'm for agriculture, so
Okay,
whatever. Thank you.
thank you.
Rich Osowski, 1024 Westwood Opinion Way. I'm just, like to keep the area residential, but I do have a question. I heard that, you say you collect antique taxes and you want to store it in your shed. So the word I heard, you're not thinking of opening a diesel business, you're not thinking of opening any kind of business at all. That will never be a business to where you're gonna have any working on mechanics and stuff like that outside of your personal needs.
Can I address that?
Yes.
So first off, I'm retired. I retired from the police department. And fortunately, I invested well enough in real estate because my wife's an agent. We know real estate really well and what affects property values. And we did well enough to where I can retire. So I'm not working. I'm not fixing other people's stuff. I might help Charles with his tractors occasionally. I'm not doing, this isn't a business. I collect them and I do tractor poles and stuff like that. But I grew up on a dairy farm. My grandfather was a dairyman. I have 5 kids. And I would like the ability to use my property the way I see fit.
Barbara Osowski, 124 Westwood Opinion. Doesn't the, if it's residential estates, can't they have a garage as big as their house? So if he's having a 2,400 square foot house, then his garage can be 2,400 square feet, correct?
Correct.
No, half the
Can I,
size.
No.
can I address that?
Yes, not,
Yeah.
yeah, not anymore. 100%.
Oh.
It's not what Ben told me.
Well, it's just was changed too, so there could be some confusion. If it used to be 50, we just increase it to 100%.
And then, and excuse me, and then also too, can he have a accessory building that's half the size if it's a detached building on rural estates?
Yes.
I'm just,
It gets pretty complicated, but yeah, you have more than one accessory building, obviously. I think it has to do with how much land area you have in the rear of your property. Yeah.
I think so.
Sure.
So what you just said is one of the main reasons why we're wanting, I'm Haley Graham, Jason's wife. It's one of the main reasons, because it gets very complicated. The codes are written in such a way, I mean, we've done a lot and been a lot of places.
You're not telling us anything.
So that's the thing, is the restrictions on your RE5 are like CCNRs, really. And I understand why the town is trying, well, I mean, they're, compared to some of the other places where we've been and seen, they're pretty restricted, which I get, because I understand that Apple Valley is growing. People are coming here from all over, just like we are, and there's growing pains, and I get that. But at the same time, allowing us to be ag, just allows us to do with our property the reason why we moved here. We're spending $750,000 on this property and the home that we're building. I guarantee you, it's not bringing down your property value at all. If anything, it's going to go up. We're just asking that we be allowed to do what we want.
How many cows, what do you want, cows? You want cows on your property?
We don't even know as of yet.
You might want to look into
But
the pig thing, because
we're not gonna have pigs. I brought that up because there are people who have pot-bellied pigs as pets. They have them as service pets. And under your current code for an RE5, you can't have that.
Well, and even under ag, you're allowed wiener pigs to a point, and then you're not allowed to have them.
Right.
So
whatever. That's just an example of the restriction that I'm talking about.
Well, I'm
So-
saying you can look at similar restrictions in ag too for some things.
Yes,
Okay.
I agree.
That's why I was
It's written
just
in the ag
as long
part
as you knew that,
about
so.
wiener pigs. We're not gonna have wiener pigs, I can guarantee you that.
Well, you sound like you fit the RD5 really well. And it's actually an already really hard
She's telling you why we don't fit into RE5.
Well,
You're
she may be,
missing what she's saying.
But, no, I'm listening to her, and she sounds to me like an RE5 would fit, RE10.
No, it doesn't. The RE5 does not allow us to do, what we would like to do with the property.
What do you
So,
such
what do
as,
you-
What is the big holdup? I'm not sure I get it. Maybe.
If you have a number of animals, you have a limit of only.
We have a limit.
Yeah,
What
but-
if I wanted to have 20 cattle at one point in time?
On a 10-acre lot?
What if I wanted to have 10 horses and 10 cows?
And what are
Or
your-
a couple of goats?
What about your neighbors?
I don't have any neighbors except for Christian
don't
School,
have?
right next to me.
What about-
That's all I can go off. This is what I have right
Are
now.
these your neighbors?
Yes,
How about them?
yep.
They have cattle right now.
But they're grazing cattle right now on that front piece of property. Nobody lives anywhere near me. I got one of them ugly containers that was on the picture across the street from me. So,
we're trying to get rid of those.
And what happens if they
We
decide
love
to
it.
try to sell that?
if what?
What if they decide to sell that?
What if they decide to sell that? They're gonna love to come live next to us who have increased the property values sky high.
That's your opinion?
Yes.
Yes, Rich Cop,
Thank you.
1183, East Big Picture.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Currently, I can't stress enough the fact that you have property rights. Everybody has property rights within the limits of the town ordinances. There are restrictions. I would have loved to have an ag piece of property too.
So why don't you?
My property, because it's RE,
You
that's
can change
why.
that.
You see, you are the real estate guru. Why didn't you buy a piece of property in ag?
There's not any.
She's the guru though, you said it. So if you would have bought a piece of property in ag, you wouldn't be in this position right now. Like you said, right now you have a piece of property that you consider, off the beaten path with nothing around it, but that's right now. So what happens down the line? So you set the precedent, like I said, and now I'm gonna have to suffer on a 15-acre piece of
Why are you
parcel.
gonna suffer?
Because you set the precedent now, my neighbor who owns 20 acres says, oh yeah, I wanna change this to ag. And now, I wanna put 50 cattle and 40 sheep and weaner pigs and the whole 9 yards stinking up my house.
But that's why we live out
You
there.
see, no, that's why you should have got a piece of property in ag. Then you wouldn't be in this position.
He lives nowhere
Well,
near
she
me.
said to me.
It's fine,
So-
yes, they said that we can.
I want to make a comment as a.
Okay, yes.
Okay. I really have a little bit of an issue with some of this, just because I feel like the property right next to his is already on the general plan as agricultural. I feel like we told,
The one to the east.
yeah, over here.
Right.
Those are already on the general plan as agricultural right now.
Right.
We told Shapley that his property behind here, that this would become the buffer and this property could be zoned agricultural. When
Which
he
is
came
right
in
next
for
to
his
this.
zone, and it is right next to this. This property becomes the buffer for these RE5s, and then this is already agricultural. I feel like this is the buffer for this one to become ag. I just feel like when a property owner really wants something, we should try to give them what they want, especially when our general plan is going in that direction currently. We haven't made the changes that, to the
No,
RE5.
and that's why.
And I also think that, for the fact that these are currently RE1, or RE1/2, what were they?
General plan is
Residential
already,
1/2.
yeah,
I feel like
already.
he's actually improving that. The people out there want the larger lots. That's what they said. Many of those people don't want 5 acre. They actually wanted the 10 and the 20 acre. So I don't feel like this is outside of the box of what many of those residents want. And I hope that you'll really consider some of those factors. I understand what Rich is saying, but we also have to consider what this landowner is saying. So.
And I agree. The only thing I've taken issue is the attitude of, it's my land, I should be able to do what I want and whatever. I mean, that's just not how it works. And it's not just a difference of opinion. It's code and what we decide. And so, yes, you have property rights. within parameters of the town. And so I have no issue with your ag idea. I just want to make it clear that the argument of I've served this country, it's my property and I should be able to do what I want, that kind of doesn't sit well with me personally. And
You get
so-
to decide my future, so.
No.
That's what you're saying. You control me, so.
No.
Wow.
You got that wrong.
Wow, no.
That's making us mad.
Let's table this.
You know,
We can't table it.
No, my issue is you kind of taking an all or nothing approach with us. I have no problem with what you're proposing. It does make sense. But when you present it in a way that this is my property, I should be able to do what I want, and I've served this country for this reason, that's kind of not the right approach. I'm not trying to wield some power. This is a volunteer position that I'm 2 months away from being done with. So this is not wielding power. This is just making sure that we all understand that we are a community and we're trying to work with you, but you have to be willing to also, you know, with the town codes, realize that it's not just Wild West.
I understand town codes. so
Okay,
it's not
that's all I'm
very
getting
well.
at.
Codes don't outweigh the Constitution. And sometimes codes overreach the Constitution. They lose in court on a regular basis.
Dress code, you might ask legal, maybe.
Okay.
Well, I'm not saying that these codes are unconstitutional. I'm
That's
just
right.
saying that the
Okay,
Constitution
but
is the
you have been
ultimate.
kind of heavy-handed with that argument, so
Yes.
that's all I'm getting
I
at.
don't disagree, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Can we go back to something Michelle said? Tell me what you said about this property.
So when Shapley actually originally came in, he wanted to zone this RE5 piece agricultural. And because it was in this cul-de-sac, and because it has these RE1 properties next to it, he was declined on that, and you said he had to go RE5. He said, but I also own this piece behind it. And you said that you would consider going agricultural on that because you used the RE5 as the buffer with those RE1 properties. And so if you have already told him that there's a possibility he can go ag on this, then I don't see why going ag on this property that is actually further out and away from those RE1 properties would be an issue.
You said the town said this, I said
The
that.
I believe it was the planning commission when he came in, because you guys made the recommendation, we will not do ag, but we will do the RE5, but then on the property behind it, because we have that buffer, we talked about having a buffer.
Yeah, the bubbles of
The bubble,
yeah.
and we have the buffer of the RE5 with those RE1s, that you would consider the agricultural on that. And so I just think that with that having been said, as this piece possibly going to agricultural, that would not be an issue. But
Okay, this isn't agricultural yet, so.
Right,
I do-
right,
I
exactly.
love being able to say this, but because the recording doesn't know who you are, would you
Oh,
please
sorry.
state your name?
Michelle G.
Marty Johnson.
Okay.
Margaret Osowski, 102 for Wetzel. Is there a difference between the tax rate on RE5 and agricultural, and what is the difference?
Once you put a building on it, no.
Oh.
What was that?
It's not-
It's Greenbelt agricultural, you put a building on it, you
You're right,
build
you're
on
right.
it, and it's the same rate.
Can I say one more thing?
Well, Ben was gonna say something.
So I just wanted to clarify a comment that was made earlier regarding the allowable space, the percentage. It's the attached garage is allowed 100% of the living space, of the living space. The detached garage is 50% of the total footprint of the home.
That's
So it's
including
50%.
But do you have the limit on accessory buildings? There's another limit. You can have attached garage, detached garage, and then
Other accessory
other
buildings.
accessory buildings. if
Shall not be
you've got
greater
that
than
room.
50% of the rear yard.
50% of the rear yard.
Yeah,
That's what-
which is not relevant to this
So that's-
discussion, but.
Well, if it was RE5, and just say
It
you're
would
saying the
be.
rear yard would be a pretty big building.
Yeah.
Right, so you can put a,
But if it's ag, you can put it where you want.
Right. I just think that with all of his neighbors with 40-acre parcels, it's hard to make that argument, and, you know, we can, I don't know, I think that he makes a compelling argument between the neighbors across the street, the neighbors behind him, and everybody out to the east of him. I just think it's a compelling argument. I just don't have, personally, I don't have a problem with it. But
Well, yeah, that's
because,
what all the hearings for, is
it's
to
not-
get everyone's opinion
it's-
about
it's
stuff
not,
and how it ties in.
It's not, this is not a far stretch.
Well, what would, maybe we should consider, if we're going to change him to ag, talk to all these people surrounding him and just
Well, everybody's,
not
Were they
rezone it.
notified?
everybody's
Put them in
been gotten a
the general
notice.
plan.
They've
But
all
every-
been notified.
Everybody's gonna have a
No,
notice.
well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, would they be in favor of a general plan change to ag, which is different than rezoning?
Yeah, well, that's a question we didn't ask.
Because that's my big holdup, is if that map shows it's general plan half acre, and somebody comes in
That
with
was-
one ag, that's.
That was a long time ago, someone's gonna put in an
Understand
RV park or
that, but it's
something,
still-
you know?
It's
So-
still on the books.
But everything else
that's
is
what I'm
next to
saying,
it.
if we want to
is-
change that, let's talk about that.
Okay, well, this whole hearing has kind of been, is supposed to just kind of be about the general plan amendment
Right.
from residential to ag.
Doing
We
that
we still have the zone change, from PV to ag. So we kind of like merged them into one,
Due
but,
to the lateness of the hour, I'd like to table this.
well, let's kind of get some, yeah, you were wanting to say?
Yeah, Mr. Guzman's recommending. So what I do want to say, I want to apologize if I was aggressive or made somebody feel bad about something. I'm very passionate about property rights. It's something I
And
defended for a long
Understandably,
time.
understandably.
And so I want to apologize for that. But I do also, we are renting a house, and we've been trying to get building for a long, long time. And please finish. I know it's late, and I apologize, and I know you're volunteers, and I appreciate you being here, but I really need to move on with this project. I have 5 kids that we drive every day from Hurricane to Hilldale to school, and it's a pain in the rear, and I'd really like to get this house built.
There's schools in Hurricane.
Yeah, but we want to go to Hilldale.
Oh, okay. I teach at Hurricane, so.
Nothing against her.
That's for the high school though. Well, were there any other, yes?
Nancy Barlow, and I'm looking at a piece of property out there right now. I'm actually under contract on it. So if you are going to look at that area, I already talked with Ben about the area, and I'd recommend that you do look at the whole area on the zone change, because there are some other issues, not just his. And you might could just solve a lot of them by just looking at my general plan and the whole area right there.
Making it what?
Well, like you said, the 40-acre parcels there, go ahead and make them agriculture if you already had them that way, so that they don't each one have to come in and.
Well, they're already, those 40-acre parcels they're already agriculture on the general plan. Well, if I know which 40
The ones
acre
to the
parcels.
east?
Yeah, the ones to the east. And that's what I say, it would, I would be firmly against this unless we knock at least these 3 parcels into that general plan designation.
Well, if we talked to Shapley, or Shapley came in and said, I wanna do that piece that's right behind him, and we say no to him, but we say yes to him, we've got a problem too. I just think there's, plus what's right next to him is all, like you say, is already general map agriculture. Moving over one parcel is not
I
that.
think what we're finding is that we're gonna keep having these issues until we fix our general plan. I mean, the general plan is a mess, and we keep on talking about it, but it keeps getting shoved away, and we
Of course, you
need.
mentioned a good point though on that we never asked that question. We said, what about acreage? You know, do you want 5-acre minimums out there? And we had a good positive response, and most people out there said yes, never less than 5 acres. But what we didn't ask is, you know, do you want that agriculture, or do you want it RE? Doesn't matter to me, I don't live out there. I just think that'd be a question we could do another survey on and start asking maybe a little more detailed questions on that. But for now, I hate to hold them up anymore, if you guys feel comfortable with it, so. But I just think that whatever your decision is, let's make it, at least it gets him going on, because if you say no, then he can make his next step. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Okay, well, we still have part two of this, so, I move that we close the hearing on general plan amendment, AV 1377E from residential to agriculture. Close the hearing, second, Lynn, okay, vote,
Abstain?
Aye.
aye? All right, and, so then we have the next item, the hearing on the zone change itself. And so,
I make a motion, we open the hearing for the zone change for parcel number AV 1377E from planned development to Ag 5. Rockside Construction Grant.
okay, vote?
Aye.
Who was the second on that?
Who's, when?
When second the motion to open?
Okay, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
I gotta get out of here.
Okay.
Okay. You know, you served in the Army, my husband served in the vets in Vietnam. He got treated like crap. So your attitude stinks. So does yours.
All right. Thanks, Janet. Sorry.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Janet, sorry.
I gotta go take my pain meds.
I understand. Take some from me, please.
Yeah.
All right. So, PD to Ag 5. Yes.
Yes, Rich Cop, 1193 East Big Pinion. So, to pressure the planning commission to make a decision at this point, I think is ludicrous. There's so many questions out here that need to be answered. I don't even think it's right to put it on your backs to make a rush judgment myself. I think it should be tabled. That's my opinion. I don't even see how you can go to the next hearing. But that's my opinion.
Yes.
To be fair, this was first.
Okay,
Oh, Madeline Graham and their daughter. Just one little comment to that one. So this was first on the list, and it got moved down to deal with other things, which is understandable, but regardless of the hour, that was it.
Well, the other things we had been in the works for longer, which is why it was part of my decision. And so you guys were kind of the last ones to come to the table, and we had people who were here for those other. So that was my decision, that I approached these guys with, and they were all in agreement, so that's why.
And that's fine, that's totally fine, I understand why it wasn't all the people here. We would just ask that we get, you know, our time and that we can get something like that here.
Yes, but I mean, and you are getting your time,
Yeah.
but even with stuff that gets their time, like, we've gone over the shipping container issue for months, and that still got tabled. So it's not rare for something to come and not be passed on the very same night. So I think we're trying to be helpful, but yeah, it's been over 3 hours. So
William
yes.
Fisher, I'm for the ag.
Okay.
Which name?
William Fisher.
Yes.
Tish Lisby, 1386 North Mount Zion Drive. The whole conceptual idea of putting everything into a minimum of RE5 out in that area is for low density. Agriculture obviously is low density. You can't just blanket the entire area as RE. You have to allow for usage. And if it makes sense, and you gotta look at the surrounding lots, the environment, and say, does it make sense for this guy to get agricultural or not? Base it on that.
Okay. Yes.
Richard Fisher. When you go buy a piece of property anywhere, in any city, any town, if you want to put a commercial building on it, you go buy that property and say, hey, I want this to be here. If it doesn't fit the current zone change or the zoning that's there, you go to the town and or the city and you apply for a zone change. I've been building for years and we do that everywhere. So you don't buy the piece of property that you want to have zoned exactly what you want, because not every property that fits a use is already zoned what you want
Well,
it to
this
be.
is what we're doing.
No, I'm just making a point, so, for these people to buy a piece of property and rezone it, they're not doing anything different than a million other people everywhere else. Just saying.
Yes, Rich Cop, 1193. On that note right there, so does that mean that every time a person goes in front of the planning commission, they're going to get what they want?
No, look at that.
So that's what you just implied. That's what you implied.
Any other comments or concerns or questions or?
Well, my mind's made up. Anybody else got questions?
Last chance for hearing stuff. Yes.
From what I hear you saying, you've already made commitments to Shapley, and beyond him, his agriculture already, it doesn't make sense to not give it to him. It makes sense to give it to him.
What's your name?
I think you used the word commitment, and I can't find anybody that made a commitment. But I think at most we said maybe we'd look at it. Maybe I misunderstand what went on, but I can't imagine anybody making a commitment to say, oh, sometime next October, we're going to change your lot to ag. That's just not the way it works.
Yes, Rich Cop, 1193, East Big Pinion. Well, I think your decision should be based on the minutes. What the minutes said, and in fact, that agreement was made with the Shapleys, maybe you should base your decision on that. But without looking at the minutes and seeing, because that's what dictates everything for the most part, what the minutes say. And I think I think it would be a rash decision to side either one way or the other until you in fact know if in fact they made a commitment and that would, the minutes reflected that, well then, then it is what it is, because I've been in arguments. I got an argument right in Cedar Point subdivision. The minutes are the king. That's the way it is. And I didn't win on that battle either, but that's the way it was. The audio said differently, but it was the reflected minutes was the determining factor.
Okay, so, any other comments for the hearing portion? All right, so I move that we close the, oh, sorry, I didn't see you.
Sorry, because I was like, oh, should I put mine?
Go ahead.
Because I don't want to keep talking because I know we all want to go home. I just was gonna say maybe, maybe this could be a starting point, because you mentioned that it kind of keeps coming up. We keep talking about the general plan and how to change it, and maybe we change this to ag. We look at the zoning plan there, and maybe the closer ones in that are already smaller can say that. Just look at the whole picture, but let this be a starting point instead of tabling it and then doing this all over again.
Well, we don't have to have the hearing.
Well,
again.
yeah, but just do something.
We just have to decide whether we feel competent to make a final decision tonight. Based on this. Yeah. All right, so good.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't want to cut you off, I want to have your time. All right, so I move that we close the public hearing for the zone change parcel number AV 1377E from plan development to Ag 5. Vote?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
All right, so now we get to discuss. So hearing part's over. So, what's everyone thinking?
I really hate to delay the process, but the hearing is coming from every corner of this room, and I can't get a handle on it right now. There's too many factors out here that we don't know enough about to make a decent decision.
That's well put, I think.
I do not like the delay, but seriously, I mean, this is pretty contentious.
And there were places, I know it's water under the bridge, but there were a lot of places you could have bought that this wouldn't have been a problem. And, you know, I don't know
And
how we can help you
see,
with that.
we're rethinking it right now, through our minds.
Well, there's one person that's opposed this, and you have two property owners that are there right now that both want it. Us, and these guys are under property that are directly affected right next to us.
Shapley.
Who is that?
And Shapley. And these guys right in front of us that are saying they're buying a piece right next to us and they want it ag. We are saying we want it ag. There's one person in here that's a long ways away from, doesn't drive by us, that's opposed. There's only one person that opposes us.
Plus
And there's,
Christian.
what's that?
Plus Christian.
Christian doesn't oppose it.
That's what I'm saying, you know, 4
Oh,
people.
yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
So what exactly does that mean? What exactly does that mean,
Plus you get
Marty?
a share opening. I'm just saying that.
No,
everybody around
the
this,
public
they all
hearing
want
part is over.
ag, everyone around
So
it.
we're-
They don't care.
So like Forrest said, you change the general plan
Okay,
to
so-
fit it.
so
You just
everybody-
don't jam it through.
No.
We're 3 hours and 17 minutes in, and the hearing is over. And all we can do at this point is decide if we are prepared to forward this in any way, shape, or form, whether approval or not, or if we need to get more answers, because just because it turns into a he said, I mean, our job here is to look at what our codes are, look at the map, look at the surrounding properties, see if it's a fit, see what the town generally thinks. I mean, it's a hearing. We are hearing what people are saying, and making a decision based on that. And I don't know how many of us feel confident enough to make a black and white decision like that right now. I mean, I know I'm not gonna vote against it, I'm not voting no, but it's not up to me. That's why I'm getting everyone's feedback. I don't want anyone thinking this was my show. So,
I'm not sure, I need more time.
you need more time, and you're saying you need more time.
I think there's a lot.
I would like to have more time.
Yeah, I think at the very least, you got to change the general plan. For the area. What they do, whether they believe it or not, affects the people around them. Maybe it's a good thing like you want to think. I'm not so sure they believe that.
The people around me are here.
That's what we just had a hearing for,
No,
the general plan change, I thought.
there's a lot of
No,
people
the
around.
general plan change and the zone change, it was all of it.
They should be here.
And so,
They were all.
And they were all notified, so if they were concerned, they should be here.
That's what this is for.
well, exactly, but we're also
There's a
sending
lot
out a
of
survey
people-
for the shipping containers, when that was my argument with Marty on the phone. It's like, well, if they can't be bothered to show up, who cares about a survey? We should go with what people vote for here.
Yes.
It's like, we should try to get as many people as possible. And so, you know, we need to apply the same rules, I think,
Also,
for
a
these
shipping
positions.
container, not a single parcel with their house that's gonna be on it. Shipping container.
But you still have to consider neighbors and what our general plan outlook is for the community. And so, like I said, I'm not against it. I actually have no problem with it being ag. It sounds like they're gonna build a nice place. It's just whether or not I can speak for everybody, and if people aren't comfortable, making a decision today, then that's where it lies, so.
We can take a vote and see how it turns out. I have no problem taking a vote.
But what would the motion be?
Talking to the wrong guy. The motion I would make is to table the thing right now, but if you guys wanna vote.
can I ask a question? Can we move forward submitting building plans and to try and get permits while, and like, what's the time frame on tabling something or gathering whatever information that you need? What are we looking at?
2 weeks minimum.
2 weeks now?
The hearing is done. It would just be getting more information, right? I mean, and what,
My opinion, you have to change the general plan, but maybe I'm being too hard on that.
well, again, with the general plan, I don't mind the general plan change if things around it are similar, and they are. But I'm also wanting to make sure we do things the right way. And not setting cart before the horse precedent, but again, I'm not the one making the big decision here, so. It's just how we feel about saying yes or no to anything tonight. Would you rather a table than a no?
Probably. But, you know,
I know.
it's just right, you know, there's such a personal level to it.
I know,
You
I know.
It's one family, we're just trying to.
I know.
To do our thing, and I guess I don't see or understand why changing, I get the precedent factor of it. But with all the neighboring properties already going that way, if we change ours to ag right now, does that really change what you do moving forward when you do gather more information? Let's say, okay, we're in as ag, has one more property that has the bordering properties, and then you gather your information and take polls and things that you want to do. That's going to take a lot of time, and then make that overall change. Obviously I'm biased. I'm thinking our little parcel doesn't matter, but I understand the precedent that is being set. But we're obviously moving in that direction.
There were 6 people that received notifications that live within 500 feet of our property, and none of them are here. One of them voiced that he doesn't matter specifically, and the other potential buyers are here. And so everybody who was directly affected spoke up, or at least had the opportunity to. And the only one that came supports. Yeah, I just ask you to consider that.
So we need to figure out, and I know we're just all exhausted and said, so I'm gonna go with whatever everybody feels comfortable with. And I'll make the motion depending on whatever that is, so.
You wanna vote?
Well, we have to know what we're gonna vote on, what motion we're voting on.
I know,
That's what it is.
Are we voting to reject it, and see how that turns out? Or are we voting to table?
For the next meeting, 2 weeks. I think we could table this for 2 weeks.
Well, if we could table it, let's put them first on the list next time, Louise.
Well, and it would be because
Yeah,
we,
exactly. I don't know if that helps a lot.
well, that's why even though we're going way late, I'm still
Yeah.
wanting them to have their time.
Exactly.
So I'm not shorting them time
No,
by
I'm
any
not
means. It's
saying
the
you
longest
were.
meeting in the history of meetings.
I'm not saying you were, I'm just putting it out there that should be first next time. Which you would have done anyway.
That's what, okay.
Is there some way that these people north and south could, maybe Sean could answer this, could we get some kind of letter from them, or would they, is that ever done? That they would be comfortable being in general plan agriculture instead of
Right.
instead of half acre or whatever?
The purpose of the notice provisions
Is to allow them to do that.
allow them to do that.
Right.
So I think a good point was made on, the notice was given, and
And if they
they
had
had the
issues,
op-
they should have been here.
Yeah, or they could have sent in a letter,
Yeah.
which is often done, that says, I'm not able to attend, but, or this is how I feel about it, and you would put that on the record that you received that letter.
Do we know for sure they got this?
Well, we can't.
I mean,
Hey, what if, just saying, what if you say, okay, we're gonna approve it to go to the town council, but they need to bring a letter of at least majority votes of the guys that touched them to the town and say, we accept it?
I wouldn't recommend doing that. The notice is their notice to do it.
It's notice.
Right, and we always assume that, and I'm not sure how it's done here, if they had juice in the notice, get the stickers ready and pay the postage and you send out, which is what we do. Then the fact that your clerk sent that out, by mail, then we always assume that it was delivered.
And
Yeah.
Michelle always certifies the addresses and the neighbors. Right. So we always assume that that's what occurred, because that's what the law requires, and that's what the law assumes.
The only open question was Shapley, what the minutes of that meeting were.
Although I'm not sure, you know, legally, you have something before you, what was said in that meeting is really not binding. You're evaluating this based on all of the criteria that you would consider, you know, the uses, the reasons why you have the zoning, current zoning in place and the general plan in place, whether or not you think it's in harmony with your zoning, and whether you think it's a good use. You know, all of those public welfare considerations that you do with any.
Well, and the general plan is supposed to kind of reflect the vision of where we want the town.
And remember, it's general, so it's a bubble.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't mean that it
So as long as
follows.
there's
Yeah.
nothing that's really conflicting right next to
Right.
each other.
But I do agree with Forrest in that if this bubble really takes up most of their property or all their property, then it makes sense, if you're going to grant the zone change eventually, that you change the general plan to reflect what you're doing and not have that inconsistency there.
But it's not dependent upon that. The zone
No,
change is not
and
dependent.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that that's what you should have, because you don't want to have a plan out there that reflects your property, when it's so large, differently than what you're actually changing the zoning to. I think it just makes sense, as Forrest said, to change the general plan.
But you're just saying for his property, not.
You would just do the bubble. Again, it's not lot specific or property specific, but let's say that your bubble on the map takes, if you looked at it, it takes 50 acres, and he happens to be 40 of it, then you might say, okay, in this case, we just need to make our general plan harmonize with what we're going to do with the zoning, so that it forevermore reflects what we're doing. Otherwise, you end up with the general plan that really doesn't reflect your zoning over the years. So it just makes sense to do it.
Meeting to discuss?
Probably not.
Okay, all right. Do both the decisions to be worded separately?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, so, I move that we, forward to the town council, the general plan amendment for AB 1377E from residential to agricultural to be approved. Second, vote?
Aye.
Aye?
No.
Chair, I would note that Commissioner.
And, yeah, Janet is excused.
And so didn't participate in
Yeah.
this.
But we still have 3 votes, so that's a quorum, so.
Absolutely.
Passes. All right, and then for the zone change, I move that we, send the zone change for parcel number AB 1377E from plan development to agriculture 5. We forward that to the town council, also for approval. Second. Vote?
Aye.
Aye? Aye.
No.
All right. You just wore us down, man. No, it's good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
for what it's worth, thank you for being here and continuing and doing something.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for all you do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
2 more months, man.
But
All right,
At least you get to leave between here and 2 months.
that's
For
right.
a few minutes, you gotta be back in the week.
Okay.
We're gonna do
Last,
minutes.
yeah, we've gone this far. We just brought sleeping back. All right, so the last item on the agenda, approval of minutes for 8/28. Everyone look at those? I looked at them.
I looked at them.
But I have 2 here.
I have 2.
And I move that we approve. I move that we approve the minutes. for 8/28/2019 for the planning commission.
Second.
Vote.
Aye.
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 I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Third.
Aye.
Vote.
Aye.
Aye. Aye, aye.
Wait, that's
Oh my gosh.
Are these Marty's glasses?